You are once again welcome to Collins Inyima Treasury of Excellent Knowledge, the Center of Super Truth, the Center of Excellent Knowledge, where we bring the realities into perfect comprehension to eradicate all ambiguity, ignorance, and irrelevant controversies regarding the whole aspect of life, and most especially on the social aspect, as this platform stands for. I am your servant, Evangelist Collins Inyima. I am also your servant, Evangelist Inyima Carlo. Inyima Carlo is the new channel, and that new channel is specifically for Christian teaching, all sorts of Christian activities. Is for the new channel with the name Evangelist Inyima Carlo. I am the managing director of the current channel and of this former channel, Inyima Evangelist Collins Inyima, from where you are watching me right now. So if you are interested to engage with me in absolute Christian activities, you will always join via Facebook and YouTube with the name Evangelist Inyima Carlo. Then you join me there where we'll be having our Christian activities for Christians the whole world. But this particular channel is for my activities with socialism, and specifically between me and Biafrans, centered on Biafra agitation, on also Biafra restoration and the building up the Biafran nation, most especially psychologically. I am your servant, Evangelist Collins Inyima, saluting you from my base, and most especially saluting you on the behalf of the Lord and the owner of the whole universe, Jesus Christ the Lord. And today being Saturday, the 20th of November 2021, the time from my base here is 9:32 a.m. Good morning from my base once again, as the program is about kicking off. So as you can see, the title is Part 9 of Christianity versus Religions and Political Colonialism in Africa. And this program is centered on Biafraland. As you see it, Biafraland 2. That is the subtitle, Biafraland 2, because I have made a program which is the part 8, centered on Biafraland, and this is also centered on Biafraland, and that is the part 9 and Biafraland part 2. So, what am I to do in the program? So I want to give us the emphasis so that we will have clue about the content of the program. 1. Introduction will be made. As you have seen, look at the man you are seeing there is traditional Nwokede. This program, this video from where I will be streaming is a video made by the Omada Biafrans, championed by Sister Chinwe Acholono, Dr. Nelly Ofebo, and the rest of them. In this program, they were joined by traditional Nwokede and a man from America known as Mazi Eluemono or Mazi Eruemolo, whichever way it is called, either with Anambra tone or with Ibonzube tone. So they were talking about the slavery on the Biafrans and as a means to improving the Biafra restoration and to eradicating slavery, both psychologically, religiously, spiritually, politically, and otherwise. But I am concerned to talk about it more and more, and to bring to us the perfect understanding of all they have said concerning the Biafra restoration and the slavery going on in Biafraland, and most especially between the Biafrans themselves and those of the slavery invested upon the Biafrans by foreigners. This is what they discussed about. And in the process, there are lots of lies and fallacies, which I am here to debunk. So that is the essence of me making the videos. While I'll be debunking all those lies and fallacies, then you begin to see crystallically clear their ignorance, their pretension, their emotions, and their sentiments. Because all those lies, as a result of the above said, sentiments, ignorance, emotion, and also pretense, depending on whose interest, or because they do not know the truth. That is where ignorance comes out. And by the grace of God, I know the truth, and in this platform, I speak the super truth, the truth that is above all truth that people speak. And that what makes Collins Inyuma Treasury of Excellent Knowledge and Evangelist Inyuma Carlo Treasury of Excellent Knowledge #1. Because this is where we speak the super truth. And people run away from this platform as a result of Okulubezokunanimia. And nothing can stop me, nothing can stop us from speaking the truth. And we have no dealing with lies and deceptions that is, we have no trading, we have no reason to trade lies and deceptions. More so, misconception is one of the fundamental factors from where human problems all over the world emanates. So I am here bringing the right concepts, right conceptions of all of the misconceptions people have regarding socialism, regarding Christianity, regarding religions, regarding politics, regarding slavery, regarding justice and injustice. regarding realities, integrity, and compromises, misconceptions of dealing with human affairs. Also, correction is one of the investments of Jesus Christ on earth. And by the grace of God, I am an ardent disciple of Jesus Christ and a Christian psychologist for that matter. So what I do in this platform is psychological development, because development people have everywhere in the world begins from psychological development. If we are not psychologically developed, we cannot be socially, infrastructurally, and otherwise developed. Because what you see as development today is what people understand first of all, think about it, reason about it, then bringing it to practical reality by demonstrating what they have conceived. And underdevelopment is also a physical manifestation of the underdeveloped mindset of any people. Africa being the prior example all over the universe. So without me doing what I am doing, I know that millions of people from all over the earth, and most especially Biafrans, had absorbed the content of the program hosted by the Umuada Biafra, joined by Traditional Mokede and the Mazi Eremono. But from where I am doing now, people will begin to have a second thought. They will begin to reflect. Then I'm hereby introducing rationality against the credulity in the mindset of the people. Credulity is hearing something and believing it just like that. But rationality is when things are said or when people tell you about something, no matter how much, then you have your own reflection. You bring your own reason. You don't let people decide how you would think. And you don't let people persuade you to reason based on their own perspective. You have to introduce your own perspective. Then there should be a rationality, thinking about it, putting forward and removing, comparison and contrasting. Then in the end, you come closer to the reality, which requires your accurate knowledge to establish the reality. And as a result of lack of the accurate knowledge in the mind of many Biafrans and the world at large, I am doing what I'm doing right now, bringing the accurate knowledge to bring the accurate comprehension to all that have been said, and in the process debunking all the lies and fallacies while establishing the truth and reality for the benefits of the Biafrans and the benefits of mankind as a whole. May God bless you for listening. So I want to go to the emphasis of the program because it will be a very long program. Then one is introduction. Then after that we have pleading for God's forgiveness. Then we will talk about Jesus' race. Whether Jesus Christ is a white, whether he is an European or he is an African, or what is his race. We will talk about Christianity, religion, spirituality, and worship system in Biafraland. Then in the process, I will talk about what is called one Biafra religion. Then I will talk about, is Igbo land really the origin of man? That is the origin of human being, comparing Genesis 26, 1 to 20, Genesis 21, verse 26 to 27, Genesis 2, 6 to 7, and Genesis 11, 1 to 9. Then I will talk about indigenous hatred and slavery in Biafra land. I will talk about more on spirituality and religion. Then spiritual origin of man. quoting my, okay, who then there I will cite on my video, which is titled, Who Are the Hebrews? This is one of the videos you will visit. I made a video with the topic, Who Are the Hebrews? Part 1 and 2. Then I will talk about adopting the right conceptions. I will talk about subjugating the women. I will talk about carnal anger, a major problem. I will talk about, are the Igbos from Israel or not? I will talk about, does the Bible teach Igbos to insult Biafran women or to subjugate Biafran women? I will talk about, okay, that should be the last one. These are the things I will talk about as the program continues. So I will just begin to play the video. According to the program, it is a 3 hours 55 minutes program. I will start playing it from each 1 hour.
He printed it because he know how to do all the 419 papers. He printed so many papers from Bible verse, giving people to read. While we are there to demonstrate, I asked them, are we here to pray or are we here to do demonstration? That is the day I know that this Nenayanya is nobody in this struggle. Christianity will not bring us a Biafra. They can have said it many times. But our people are still sleeping. The wise people here in Germany told me that it takes these people like 100 and something years to be in this mess. So you cannot do it for them by force. You have to be doing it for them. It will take them long for them to wake up again. So if anybody have any question, please ask question. I still have the Lord to talk.
Okay. I have a question. Yeah. I have also, and I will after.
Okay, we'll go with your question first. Then I'll.
No, after our questions, then I'll open the line for others to ask. Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay. I guess before I ask my question, I'm going to make this comment. Okay. I need Biafrans to understand that we have a problem in our hand, and we are here to find a solution for that problem. The problem in our hand is slavery and bondage. That is why we are in bondage. That's why the Fulani took over us. They are not better than us or stronger than us. They are taking over us, controlling us, and putting us in bondage because of the evil we did, the evil that our ancestors did. So people are here pointing fingers, trying to make it look like Chief Moke is saying this or calling another town, calling tribe. All the name he's mentioned, I have done my research. I've even sent people to go home and look into these things. This is not about sentiment. This is about knowing the truth, and the truth shall set us free. If you think what Chief Moke is saying is wrong, you come and bring your own opinion. It's not about castigating him. It's not about trying to distract people. We need to get into Biafra. The most important thing is that we are suffering. We're in bondage because of slavery. We're in bondage because of the Osuka system. And a lot of elderly men in Biafraland have agreed.
Can I say something? Somebody is talking here. Yeah. They said that I'm instigating tribal war. But this tribal war is already there.
He said it's already
already. All this Africa and Ohapia and Dalotuku have started this tribal war. The people that is collecting money and eating it here. This is tribal war that they are doing. Whenever you stand up, this is the strategy that they use for our ancestors.
That is strategy.
And this is strategy. If I bring this tribal war, let it be. We are tribes. We are different tribes. We are not one. Because whenever they wanted to do this fraud something, they will tell us that we are one. We are not one. We have never been one. As our face is different, so where we come from is different. We come from different regions. Let us go to the history. We have different tribal marks, and we are Igbo. Some are having here, some are having here, some are having here. You don't even know. In the many towns in the Biafraland, the animal that you forbid to kill in your town is different from the one I forbid to kill in my place. All this is what we have to restore. And the earlier the better we are going there. If this will bring the tribal war, let it bring. Because if we keep quiet that we are one, this is when they have the chance to be doing the fraudster. Nana should resign immediately. If somebody take office and reign for 4 good years and 8 years, she will resign or he will resign. Nana resign first, and the Thomas Rumik also to resign there. These people cannot move Biafra forward. We have been wait for patiently. This is now what they are doing to Simon Eba. If you go to Simon Eba platform, 6 months ago, all these people that is criticizing Simon Eba are praising him, telling him to be coming to Biafra, coming and doing something for Biafra. This is how they have bring many honorable people down, and they are telling me that I'm inciting civil war or tribal war. This is strategy have to end it, or I end it.
Can I say something, Chief Mokedi? Please, can I say something? Yes.
Go ahead.
So when I was consulting the elders, this is one of the things they told me. They told me that when I start bringing this topic, it's going to be like sword into people's ears.
Yeah.
That they will bring all kinds of attack. They will say it's war. Exactly what you said is one of the elders told me. That they will say that you're instigating war. But we cannot solve it if we don't know the root and the root. So please, can you stop addressing them? Just ignore them, and just we need to know how we're going to take care of this problem. So when I send people home to some of these villages, you know what? There are people, while I was working on this, there are people in IPOB. I was given the inspiration to trace their origin. I'm still going to talk about my findings. I traced the origin of some of these people. This is amazing. This was shocking to me. To back to their ancestors. The same people that did that slavery and that bondage, that is their lineage. It's going to be hard for people to believe. But it's almost like it's the same people that is now infiltrating the entire Biafra land. So the devil is still using the same group of people to still continue to put us in bondage. But I don't want us to talk about that. But what they told me is that what I am doing is one of the hardest things to do. And that's one of the things that as soon as this is taken care of, we're going to get into Biafra land. So please, I'm pleading with you, ignore all the distractions. Even the names of all these people in IPOB that we're calling, we would just try not to ignore them, because Chukwuemeka and myself are taking care of this. I'm going to announce to everybody, the spirit of Biafra has taken care of all these people. It has been taken care of. You know what they told me, this has been taken care of. As soon as I heard that this has been taken care of, that these people have been taken care of, that's when I stopped worrying about them. When they gave me the new message to preach, to talk to Biafran people, that's why I'm bringing it here. I don't discuss them anymore. Because Chukwuemeka and the spirit of Biafra herself has taken care of this. So what we need to talk about, we need somebody to educate us about this slavery, because we have to know the truth. So it's not about fighting you or fighting anybody. It's about bringing your own truth. Then we have to solve it. The bottom line is the solution. And we need to do it ASAP. We need to take care of this in a matter of weeks. That's how urgent it is. Martin Nalikan is not going to come up and jump on the body and start screaming. No, because he has done everything that he needs to do. Biafra is here already. It is only this thing that is holding us back. I spoke to some people, Chinwe herself spoke to some top advocates, African Americans. They in their own mouth, this is amazing. They said that the entire black race will never be free until we when I called. They say they are happy because the liberation of Africa is coming now. He said so many things that shocked me. He said this is a task that needs to be done. It's a very, very difficult task. But he believes that this is the time to solve this problem. So please, let's focus on the solution. We actually know the problem. Even though we don't know, some people like me don't know the entire truth. We know what the problem is, and we need to try to solve it. The problem is slavery. One of the things that happened is that we've done atonement for slavery. We've not taken care of the Otu caste system. Somebody told me, oh, we took care of it. It has been abolished. No. If it was abolished, they wouldn't be telling me that it's a problem that we need to solve. This is a message I'm bringing to Biafran people. We need to work hard, abolish the Otu caste system and every form of slavery and bondage in Biafraland so that we can get our own freedom. We are in bondage because the Bible said that whatever seed a man sows, so shall he reap. We are reaping the seed of our ancestors, the evil seed of bondage. We still say human parts. We still do all kinds of evil, cannibalism.
Selling children every day.
Selling children, using people for rituals. Those are the things that we need to stop. We need to start by acknowledging it and asking for forgiveness. We're already making arrangement with some African Americans to help with this atonement because we need to get Biafra is here. We need to get Biafra before the end of the year. That's how we need to take care of this. So Chief Monkey, if you can ignore all the distractors, a lot of them coming up with this name don't want us to get. They're going to use war. They're going to use tradition. You're inciting. Whenever you say the truth, it's very hurtful. So please ignore it. Let's focus on what we are talking about, and let's focus on the solution, please.
Yeah, the solution is.
I have a question. Traditional worker. The other time you were speaking to us on the phone. You are talking about the people that's naturally born with Dada hair, and they say that's why they were sold out, and they are the Jamaicans, the present Jamaicans. We see now.
For so far, they have taught. We hear about slavery and the giving Osu caste system as an example, Calibanism and occultic rites like occultic human sacrificing. So all these things are real in Biafraland, and they are just fractions of the internal slavery going on in Biafraland. And many people do not understand it that way. What they have said now are just accurate, and we must abolish completely and abandon all those sorts of slaveries before we can actually move forward beyond the stage we are. However, there is a time for everything. But since they have chosen to go into this way, they should do it correctly and not erroneously. So when they say the one that is perfectly true, I will also let you know just the way as I have did. And also, I have also made a video in the past, either early 2019, about this Osu caste system, and I titled the video "The Nonsensical Facts About Osu Casting." That's the title of that my video from Collins Inuma Treasury of Excellent Knowledge. There you will hear in detail my own explanation, teachings, and analysis regarding the slavery of the Osu caste system, which many people do not understand, and those who actually understand, they use it as a medium to enriching themselves and to securing rulership power, both for themselves and their subsequent generations.
I have a book to show. I'm going to turn my camera and show this book. Okay. This book is written by a Biafran. Do you see the book?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. Yeah. Have you gotten it? Somebody sent it.
Just received it yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
So this book is written Biafran. It's fully loaded. This man actually explained a lot about this slavery and our bondage. He even acknowledged it. And this book was sent to me by an African American.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah. So Sydney, right?
Yeah.
So when he told me about this book, I didn't know. He said it's the short verse of all problems that we're having. So I will advise every Biafran. Yeah.
Adam. What is the name of the book?
It's the sins of our forefathers and atonement for Africa. The sins of our forefathers and atonement for Africa.
It's very important.
Yes. I think every Biafran needs this book. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was asking you about the people that are naturally born with that. We still have them till now, and they were sold out, and they are the present Jamaicans we are seeing that are related to us. Can you just talk briefly about those people? Yeah.
These people are the truthful people who tell Alochukwu or Hopia and Dabreba the truth. What they are doing is not good.
Who are they and where are they from originally? Before
they are the chief priests. They are the chief priests of our lands. And they have a natural gift from God.
Yeah.
That hair is we call it Isionyowa. Dada. They have a natural gift from above. All these Alochukwu people who are selling slaves don't have it. So this is where the hatred started. And these people have been there a long time in Africa, protecting the land, governing the land. They have a spiritual problem.
Are they Igbos? Were they Igbos?
They are Igbos, ancient people. Yeah, the only one left in the house of the God. They used to say it, the only one left in the Jah creation.
Okay.
The only people, they are the Dada. So our Chuku people sell them to slavery and occupy their land. If you go to Nobi, they are older, those children, oh my combina melimbo, oh my akambo. That place they are calling Awoda. You will see a lot of them from there, Dada. You go to Nanka, you see a lot of them. Go to a club, you go our place, Aguilera, everywhere you see them. So a lot of people started selling them to slavery. Because they used to thank people bad name. That is why many people are cutting their hair. Because if they see you that you are that, I have to go down to and swear oath. And that is the end of your journey. They take you.
Why would they swear oath? Because you have that, you go and swear oath or what?
They can even tag you saboteur, and they have to go down to and swear oath.
Okay,
and
they say the person.
They say those people. This is how they take our people and sell them to slavery. The lies of Alochukwu, and that is why the erosion. There is erosion in our Igbo land, destroying things. That erosion is the cry of the people, the cause that they lay to the people who took over, who sent them to slavery and occupied their land. The land they rejected the people. So anywhere you see the erosion, destroying things, go and make a thorough investigation. They are not the original owner of the land.
The people in Jamaica, because I know that those Jamaican people, they are highly.
They are speaking Igbo. The people in Jamaica are still speaking Igbo. They still say Uno. They still speak Uno. And it means Uno. Yeah. When they are speaking their language, they will still find out that some Igbos are still remaining in their mouth. We are the only people speaking Uno. And the Jamaicans are speaking also Uno.
And you know the Jamaican people, you know they are very highly spiritual. So you are saying that they are the born priests, naturally born priests.
We have naturally talented people because we are the ancient civilized country, ancient civilized people. We are manufacturing We are manufacturing a lot of things. Even we are manufacturing gold and a lot of things. But you see, today we are not manufacturing anything again. We are consumer. We are doing import.
No,
the rice.
You get my question. I said these people with dada hair, naturally dada that we are taking to Jamaica. We are then like our priest, Levi, when those days. Like
they are the chief priests.
Okay.
They are like Levite. Me also, I am a Levite. We are the Levite of that kingdom.
We are the people with the dreadlock, like the Levites of the Bible, Levites of the Israelis, those who are given the gift of the priesthood. They may be like the Levites, but they are not the Levites. That is, to be like something is not actually the same thing the original had been. Also, Mazi Oliver Nwokede, aka traditional Nwokede, claiming to be a Levite also, a priest. All priests are not Levites. All priests are not Levites. Then we begin to differentiate kinds of priests. Biblical priests, Christian priests, Judaism priests, then theological priests, priests of God, from occultic priests, from satanic priests, from traditional priests, from social priests. So when we hear about priests, I want us to differentiate the sort of priests and the powers, the kind of power, this kind of spirituality and psychology behind their priesthood. Is it satanic power? Is it diabolic power, occultic power? Or is it God's power? Are they spirit led by the Holy Spirit? Or are they priests led by traditional land gods? Or led by demons of different sorts? Or are they occultic priests? Sacrificing to who? To idol or to real God? Sacrificing to idols or to the real God? In the name of who? In the name of Jesus Christ? Or in the name of one of their land gods? Or in the name of their dead ancestors and ancestresses? Or in the name of the Queen of the Coast? Because there are millions of demons to which people sacrifice. And that is the reason there are diversities of priests. So I want us to rationalize between that priesthood and who is a priest, and to what kind of priest the people really we are or are they are right now. But I may agree with him that I will agree with him that there is a hatred between my Ohafia people and the Anambra people in those days, of which the Ohafia people have not spoken of their own side. What makes them to hate the Anambra people? Because when they come to speak now, you begin to hear a different story or different stories from what traditional Nwokede had just said. But let us leave that one aside because I have not been properly informed about it. So what we must understand is that there was hatred between the Igbo people, and there is still hatred, and the hatred is modernized. It is just a modern and ancient patterns of hatred, and the hatred is the foundation of the whole slavery going on among we the Igbos and the Biafrans at large, of which we are working restlessly to ensure that the slavery and the hatred are being eradicated and completely abolished.
Yes, there are still Levites in that land, and there are some who they take outside. They are the people who say the truth, and if you tell the Biafrans the truth, they will try to kill you.
Unfortunately, when you say the truth here, they tag you saboteur. I think it's the same.
Tell them the truth. You see how they will treat you. The people who give the truth, Igbo Buleze, and here you're not hearing it. Igbo Buleze, they kill their kings. They kill their kings.
Yeah, can I add something to what you're saying? This is really amazing. What Chief Monkey is saying. When I was talking to one of the elders, he's a really old man. I didn't even expect that he would be in social media. For some reason, when I called, he called me by my name. He said, "Be prepared because the attack is going to come from every angle because you are telling them the truth." He said that they sold people who told them the truth. That's one of the things they said. So you talking about the Levites? He also made mention of it. He said that all the chief priests, the chief priests, the Levites in those days, they sold them out, and they are the ones in Jamaica singing and prophesying, speaking through their music, through Bob Marley, Lucky Dube, that they are all priests from Igbo land that were sold. That they even had to castigate the Dada and start making it look bad. Because they will tell you, oh, you do.
When I was growing up, I used to be scared of Dada. I see them, I run away. I was thinking they are not normal.
Thank you. Because they are saying the truth, they had to dishonor them, make them look like horrible people so that nobody will listen to them. They have to castigate them. They even sue them. So this elder told me that I should be prepared and be ready because it's going to come because they don't want to know the truth. So that whenever it happens, that we have to know the truth, say the truth, and be free. He is very optimistic. He told me that Biafra will come. Because he's
Biafra is already here. The enemies of Biafra are these people that is using fake names to agitating for Biafra. And I don't know why Biafrans are not waking up. Why the Biafrans are allowing people to use the fake names to agitating for them for a long time. And they use fake names to be collecting salary. All these people are using fake names and they're collecting salary.
Even collecting salary is one of the sins of Achan. IPOB money is blood money, sacrifice money, because IPOB people dedicated themselves. They sacrificed themselves for the restoration of Biafra. So anybody benefiting, this is what the guy told me when I asked him that question. He said that what I just said is like, that he said those days, you don't eat goat, chicken, everything belongs to the gods, to the shrine. And he said that people in IPOB sacrifice themselves for this restoration. So the money of IPOB is blood money. Everything that is in IPOB belongs to the God. And anybody benefiting from this, he said they will be destroyed. We know they're going to be destroyed, but they are hindering us. So the more we say it, whether they like to live or not, saying it and exposing them is the key thing. The man told me that what I'm doing is very spiritual. That I'm just saying, even if they're sitting there, they're exposing them, that Biafran people know and they are listening. He, as an elderly man, is in the village listening, you know. He said the spirit of Biafra knows. And that all these people are gone. That I just need to keep on saying what I'm saying. Then the most important thing, the last order, is to take care of this slavery. Slavery. All the elders I spoke to in Igbo land agreed with me that this slavery thing has to be taken care of. And we have to take, and these people will hinder it. Do you know, the man told me, these people, the slave dealers in this generation, will try to hinder what we are doing because they don't want us to be free. So, but it's not going to happen. So we stay focused. They are already gone. It doesn't matter. Forget about what you see in the physical. These people are already gone. And then that's why we need to do this atonement. Okay, I'm
interested. I like to ask questions. Please don't be offended. Okay. Because I need for that. Somebody said that the Jamaicans are from Imo, Abia, and Anambra. We'll investigate that. Okay. Okay, the other day you are talking, you said that Biafra is a motherland. We are talking about the sun. I didn't really get what you are talking about. He said the sun is like a woman, and he said that is why in Igbo they say neka. And when they started saying, that's why we say umone, not umone.
Please, sorry, Chinwe, please. This is very important. Sorry, please. There's somebody, I'm reading a comment. I'm going to read it before it disappears. Okay. I am sorry, Chinwe. I used to love this program, but you guys are bent on destroying this struggle by dividing Igbo enter Biafraland. That's the most stupid thing anybody can say.
Can you imagine?
How can please listen? Don't be sentimental about this. We are talking about how to get out. You have to understand that slavery is keeping us in bondage. My dear brother, please, let's just forget about sentiment. This is not about dividing anything. We cannot enter Biafraland until we take care of this. You know, we committed slavery, we committed atrocities. And even Mazi has done atonement in the past. But we showed our leader again, bringing the sin fresh, so that God will not give us Biafra. Please, it's not anything about dividing. It's actually helping to build us to get into Biafra. We cannot get into Biafra until this is taken care of. Please, I'm pleading with everybody. Please, this is not about any single person. This is about getting into Biafra because Biafra is already here. We just have to take care of this thing so that we can step into Biafra. It's not about dividing. It's not about castigating anybody. It's about solving our problem. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really difficult to deal with, but we have to deal with it. It is what it is. Please, my people, please. If you know what to do, what will help us, please do it. Because it's not about any...
We are really desperate to enter Biafra, and we have
desperate to enter Biafra. Anything. If you have an opinion, please bring it. It's not about Arochukwu or anybody.
You even see, even though when I'm from one of the villages, they are not the
exactly. No, but all of us are suffering this.
You know, not even
it's a collective thing. It's a collective thing.
Okay. We will not give reading and commenting on their comments.
It's more division. It's actually going to bring us together. Please, my brother.
You know, I asked a question.
I asked a question.
You were saying something about the sun in Biafraland, and I think I see that sun in the Biafra flag. You are talking about it's a woman or something like that. You said the
sun in Biafra flag is a black woman.
That okay? Explain more, please.
And that is why they call Biafra motherland.
Okay.
The sun is the representative of woman. And the woman have they call woman Anyamu Ototo. Anyamu is the sun. They call it the sun.
The point I want to make here, great Biafrans, is that actually there is ancient and modern slavery going on in Biafra land and being perpetrated by indigenous Biafrans. And also, the program the Omada hosted, this video was streamed on 23rd of October 2021, just about 1 month ago. So there is nothing like them taking the step of dividing the Biafrans. But the Biafrans had already divided themselves by regarding some people to be slaves among them, while some people are free people, free-born. By some people believing they should sell out others and live comfortably. So the hatred and the lack of brotherly love is the fundamental factor for the divisions of the Biafrans, which had been affecting us from the ancient days of our forefathers until our own time, until recently, whereby the same slavery is still progressive among us in different dimensions, and without we absolutely regarding each other as our fellow Biafrans, fellow Igbos, our brothers and sisters, and treating each other as such. That is the fundamental factors for the slavery, and not because of the program they are hosting. So my own analysis and my own emphasis is based on the erroneous concepts and the erroneous narratives they project in this program. So that is where I will be making my corrections for their own advanced learning, and for the advanced learning and advanced understanding of the Biafrans and the world at large, and also a way of accurate psychological development among us.
They call it oven, yeah. You see, it's the woman, that is what we are restoring. Then we want to know where to come from, because all these men, they say three wise men come from the east. So the first was Henry, and the second Ezra. Two of them were the priest kings. They were supposed to be priests and the king. And Ezra is a spiritual leader. But Taramatuku is a priest king. And will be by birthright, which have the power of politics and the power of war, force power. Ezra the first do not have a political force power. He have a ritual sacrifice and the mystic power, the one we are using up to today. So we bring a yam, a bounty of a yam, to the gods and the goddess of our ancestors, and the blessing will fall upon you. Or we use our alcohol to tell our ancestors to go war, and we see what is mystic, what to finish our people. Our people do not believe in the gods of the land. That is why they are doing it by their power. But they believe in the gods and the goddess of our ancestors. That is why he have awful. And the power is the one who survived. It's the history that they survived. Our people history do not survive. And that is why they will come and they hide under us, telling us we are one family. And if we believe that we are one family, they will bring their diabolic culture. This is the people from the people of Ile-Ife. They come with this shrine called Ibinu. This Ibinu is also in Oba Bini Palace. They are using the same Ibinu in Oba Bini Palace. They are using it in Yorubaland too. This is the people who bring the diabolic culture and mix it with the culture of the children of the goddess. Three wise men born all these people in Igbo land. They come from the east, and they met that black woman there. And they have something together, and they started born those children. So Neka, it's only the children can call their mothers, even though that maybe their father is different.
I want to hit 2 points here. First of all, the belief that the sun is a symbol of a woman. That is Igbo traditional superstition, because the sun is created by God, and God has not told us his own the symbol. Then the function of the sun is illuminating the world, meaning it is the source of God's own source of light. Then another point I want to hit is him at least acknowledging that there had been and there are still diabolical or occultic Igbo culture, which we are not original from the ancient Igbo cultures, or we are originally part of the ancient Igbo culture. So what I want us to understand here is even the Osu caste system, like many other cultures of any segmental group of people in Igbo land and Biafra at large, are based on occultism, and they are established to serve the interests of the occultists in the guise of any culture. In the process, the culture will end up to favoring and enriching some people and also decimating other people and impoverishing them. So that is the traditional Nwoke acknowledging the fact is the point I have just hit right now. So let's continue listening.
But all of them will gather together and call one woman their mother, because now the woman born them. But these children will not gather together and call all this father their father. No, everybody knows where their father comes from. Who is the father? The son behave like their father. So the children of the criminals behave like criminals. The children of the slave sellers behave like the slave sellers. The children of Israel behave holy and the truth and the humble. Even though that they are dying, they are not afraid of telling you the truth. Yes, the Biafra we are looking is our mother. Because for a long time we abandon our mother, we are making statue of Virgin Mary and say that is our mother. So ever since then we forget that we have a mother. So Biafra is a motherland. And all of you are our mothers. And when our mother speaks, the children listen to them. If you know the problem that we are having, the problem that your children are having, it is the women that will solve the problems, not man. The power have left today from the hands of men and they're going back to our mothers. And anybody challenging our mothers, we see us fight. This one is not deceiving us that we are one. We are not one. I come from the region of Udo. And they say, onye ju ogugu of Udo, ogugu is a woman, and Udo is a man. So if you disrespect our mothers, you will see fire. I tell you this, the children of Balotuku, it's not a threat, but it's a challenge. I am telling you this, the children of Ohafi and Abreba, any day, anybody will just come out on the social media and disrespect our women again. You will see what you don't. You will see what you know you don't like. Go to hell, all of you men. That is bringing war everywhere, raping women, having problem with our women. If you disrespect our Biafran women,
Traditional Nwoke is complaining bitterly about disrespecting the Biafran women, but the wrong statement he had made there is that there are two wrong statements, that the power had left men and had gone back to the women. That is his own philosophy, and that can be the philosophy of the women as well, but it is never the wisdom of God. From creation, God made, that is, let me focus on marriage, leadership, and also leadership all over the world. That is the reason God created man first in the person of Adam, created woman secondly in the person of Eve, and commanded that the woman should be subject to that man, and that man should be a good lover of that woman. So that is how God has created life. Women need protection in all aspects, and women also need to respect men, starting from marriage and all other aspects. But some men, and the majority of men, take advantage of the women by conceiving that leadership is about slavery. That is also wrong. So I am not here just to justify men. What I am here is to justifying the truth and the reality. Also, traditional Nwoke, in the process of trying to blame the Biafran men who insult Biafran women as believed, he focuses his blame and attack on the Ohafia and Abreba people. Whereas in the DOS, if there are actually Ohafia and Abreba people, there may be few, or there might not be even any of them. I don't know if there is any. Then the person that comes from that side, which is Madam Nendianya, is a woman. then I don't know the reason. He has just focused his attack of game blame on the Ohafia and Abreba people. So I want to let us know that he is just specifically attacking and blaming the Ohafia and Abreba people in this regard as his personal hatred on the Ohafia and Abreba people. It is true we are talking about Biafra, but we must at all time face the fact and establishing the truth and reality in whatever we are doing.
Again, be you who. We will follow you bomb anything you want, we will do it. If you think you have gone, you have gone, or you can pay people to go and kill somebody. Remember that those children of Israel, the children of Israel, the gods and the goddess of Israel are the children of Israel. And when we started calling our parents, calling our relatives, they will not like what will happen to you. What our people have to ask themselves is, why are the Biafrans have to scatter all over the whole world? Why? Because we have a place, and everybody is running away from the home. Go to any embassy, people are trooping there. They want to go out of the country. Some people are going out from the place by foot. It's the sins of our people. And none of you people have grown to become a responsible person. That we call these children to come back. Let us go and know how we can make everything good again. Some of you are doing business, buying and selling, bringing Brazilian hair to us. Why not we grow Biafran hair and start selling it to other people? Are we not a human being? Are we not a complete human being? Why are we a consumer? Bringing foreign things. I live in Aba, and we make many Aba clothes, Aba bags, Aba shoe. Nobody is buying it. You go and buy an Italian bag, Italian shoe, Italian this, and they bring it home to challenging indigenous people. All this idiot that is fighting on the social media do not even have indigenous knowledge. All they are doing is using collecting money from indigenous people and using it to buying foreign things. It is time we will say, this is what we bring back home, and this is what we do not bring back home. The Hitler said that they will use Africa as a dumping refuse, and the young people are fulfilling the history today, because every nonsense, every rejected second-hand Tokumbo car, you're bringing it home. If you cannot buy one, don't buy a car. You know, I'm making car. Nobody is buying it. Everything that we are producing. My family, my town is where we make blacksmith. We produce a lot of things from home. A lot of people stop it because they wanted to be buying from China. Today you are buying from China. Brazilian hair, China hair, Indian hair. People cannot behave like themselves. Even nobody is making farm again. No animal, nobody is making agriculture again. Criminals everywhere. You people that don't have a job. People back home drinking alcohol from one place to another. The Togo people are taking your jobs. The Fulani people are taking your Okada and doing your Kikena Pepe. Nobody, everybody become, I don't know where to start to help these people. And the people who are living here in diaspora who thinking that they will help people back home are making profit on top of those poor people, on top of Keke riders, Okada riders, those alcoholics back home. People are heartless. People like Nayanya is heartless. Nobody is challenging DOS. DOS is just an office. But the people inside there are using the DOS to be defrauding people. Some people are using coordinator to be chasing our women. I'm a coordinator for Napoli. I'm a coordinator of Tripoli. You are looking for women. All this nonsense, if you play with the Biafran struggle, the gods and the goddess of our land will deal with you. Enough of all this nonsense. from today onward, I don't want the attack on our women cease.
He said, can I take this call, please, please?
Because I never see a Chinese people.
Also, can we blame the women on their own shortcoming? That is another thing we should consider. Are they doing everything right? Or are they doing some of the things they do wrongly that attract people's insult on them? More so, why is traditional Mokede blaming the importation of artificial hair like weavons and the rest of them, Brazilian hair, many of the designs and qualities, blaming it on the Arochukwu, Ohafi, and the Abreba people? Are we the only people that import such artificial hairs? Are there not other Igbos and other Biafrans importing them? Are there not others selling them in the Biafraland? So this is to make you understand that while people try to solve some problems, they attach their sentiments, their emotion, and their personal hatred against others, and that is not a way forward to solving the problems. And also, when problems are when people try to solve problems in the wrong ways, they never succeed solving the problems. Rather, they make the matters worse. So that is the step they are taking. Rightly, from their mind, they have the intention to solving the problems, but they are taking the step of applying the wrong method to solving the problem, which will end up escalating the problems rather than eradicating and abolishing such problems. And we see Sister Chinwe rejoicing because traditional Mokedi has spoken in the favor of the women. And we never see them reacting, trying to find out which area the women are getting it wrong, where they should be blamed. I am not encouraging insults, but what I am here doing is putting things aright without consideration of anybody and without fear or favor. This is Collins, Inima Treasury of Excellent Knowledge, where the super truth, the truth, the quality of truth that people are afraid to speak are being spoken. And that is the major reason people run away from this platform. But only the people of integrity stand with this platform and with the qualitative truth emanating from here, which is too unique comparing to all other platforms of broadcast.
Women. I never see any people, I never see Chinese people, Indian people attacking their women.
Hold on. Okay, hello? Hello? Yeah? Yeah, good evening from here. You're welcome to the program.
Yes, hi, my name is Christina Edwards.
Yeah, Christina, you're welcome. Okay, hello? Yeah, speak up, Christina, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm confused. Yes, my name is Christina and I'm calling to contribute. First of all, I want to thank you, the Biafran woman. Am I coming out clear?
Yeah, you're coming out clear. There's a bit of noise behind you there, right? Yeah. Okay, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to change to make sure that it's a bit clear.
Okay.
Yes. So, I want to congratulate you, the mothers.
Near the place is the Holy Temple. The group.
Spirit. In truth.
Forgive me, I made a mistake. The video I was playing was the second video, but my main target should be from the first video on that issue, which I should be playing once again from each 1 hour.
These things are so, but also some people are confused when they hear like there's the one, and all that. This is an entirely different topic. But I want us to know that Jehovah said that when Biafra is restored, that we are going to worship him in truth and in spirit. In truth and in spirit is the key word.
Timeline of the things that have been happening and that I've been involved in and that have happened to me in my personal life and in my research. You know, so I'm hopping around, giving you snapshots of my experience and what I understand about what's happening here. It would take too long a time for me to sit down here and talk about everything that I've experienced and everything that we want to affect here. But this is, you know, I'm just giving you a snapshot.
Okay,
and welcome any questions or explanations that you might have.
Okay, I want to do a little recap because we're still going to visit this topic.
I'll need my phone.
So, what I want my people to pay attention to.
Okay, more mute. I don't know whether the noise is coming from you. Yeah.
Okay, it's not coming from me. I'm not even seeing myself in this. I'm not even seeing myself.
I thought you are the one that. Okay, go ahead and come in again. Can you take yourself off and come in? I thought you are the one that.
Yeah, it knocked me out and I had to come back.
How do I do it?
Just go back and start all over again. Pretend like it's all over again.
Just go out and come in again.
You know what?
I need the group. Okay.
Let me do this recap before you leave. I want you to listen to this.
Don't leave yet. Yeah, we'll hold on.
So this is what Prince Eluemono, this is his experience, and it's just going to help us in what we're doing. There are two things. First of all, when he went to Aaron, there were people who were sorry for what we did, what the sisters did. Yeah. But then there's the denial part of it. Yeah. We are in denial. And I want to tell dear friends that we are still in denial. I don't know if we're in denial out of shame, or if we're in denial because we're evil, or if we're in denial because we don't want Biafra to come. Yeah. That denial existed then and is still in existence right now. And that's something we need to deal with. We're going to deal with this denial. We did it, and we have to own up to it. And we have to confess, and we have to ask Elohim to forgive us. That's how Biafra will come. Then the other topic that I'm going to let the prince talk about maybe next time.
Yeah, I listed a lot of things he's going to tell us next.
Yeah, and Jesus Christ. I don't want people to misunderstand him because he's going to go in depth and talk about it. We believe in Jesus Christ. We just don't believe that he's white. He is like us. That's what we're talking about here. So I mean, I'm going to let him emphasize. I'm not going to put my own opinion into. I'm just going to let him do his thing. But also, some people are confused when they hear like there's the one, and all that. This is an entirely different topic. But I want us to know that Jehovah said that when Biafra is restored, that we are going to worship him in truth and in spirit. In truth and in spirit is the key word. What does the truth and in spirit mean? The priest just gave a highlight of worshiping God in truth and in spirit. It's not about the religion. Religion is not just the Christianity. They use the Muslim religion, the Islam religion. In Mesopotamia, Sama, slavery, when it started, like 11,000 years ago, 35 BC, it all came because of religion. Religion is twisted. There's no spirituality in religion. When our leader Mazen Nandekano said that Radio Biafra is where we worship, people misunderstand it. Radio Nigeria is where we worship because we meet God one-on-one. It's a personal relationship. Biafra is a religion because it is who we are, how we worship God, the way we were made, the way we were created. I just don't want people to misunderstand.
It is a lie to say that there is no spirituality in religion. That is an absolute lie. Religion is founded on spirituality. Then depending on the kind of religions and the kind of spirits ruling the religion. Also, Christianity is not a religion. Then when we talk about worshiping God in spirit and in truth, we begin to have diversity of perspectives of different people, and the people giving their interpretation of the Bible to suit their personal interests, of which Dr. Nelly Ofebu is just doing now. But if we are talking from the point of reality, worshiping God in spirit and in truth, it means worshiping God according to the truth of God, according to the truth of the Word of God, which is based on the Bible. And the worshiping God in spirit and in truth, the worship that is led by the Holy Spirit, which is God himself, the worship led by God himself and not by any other spirit. Because everybody claims to be worshiping God, but not actually everybody worship God. Worshiping in the name of God is different from worshiping God. He made mention of diversity of religions like Islam, referring Christianity to be a religion and the rest of them. If all of us worship the same God and we worship under the same spirit, why do we have different sorts of doctrines, different sets of belief, different sets of worship system? That is to tell you it is a lie, an absolute lie. And we must not worship God in spirit and in truth when Biafra is restored. We must begin now to worship God in spirit and in truth. And according to Jesus Christ, which is the perfect worshiper, he said, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and God's righteousness first, and every other thing should be added unto you. It must not be when the Biafra is restored. No, I'm not against Biafra restoration. I am here setting the record straight. What we must do first is beginning right now, as we are hearing me, to worship God in spirit and in truth, while we anticipate the Biafra restoration. That is how it goes, if actually we want to worship the real God. Then this worship system must be according to God's recommendation and not according to any other demonic human recommendation or by Lucifer himself.
And what he said, we're still going to make our time. Yeah. And when he says something about the Jewish religion, these things are so complicated, it's just so hard to even figure it out. When I was in high school, I was 12 years old. That's when I became a born-again Christian. And I was born again until after I graduated from college when I was 21. Before I went to my youth studies, I went to a Bible school in Lagos with Bishop Oyedepo. That was his Bible ministry then. Technically, I am a pastor. And then as days goes by, I'm still going to talk about when I worship at the synagogue in Los Angeles. So these things are so complicated, we can't even understand it. When you try to understand it and the physical, you just get confused. It's not physical at all. But all you're going to do is to follow the direction. It's divine direction. When you're asked to do a thing, when the Spirit of God is with you, Spirit of Biafra, this is not about religion. Biafra is not about religion. I worship at the synagogue on Saturday. Don't forget that I'm technically a pastor. So these things are so complicated. But when God is leading you, because in Biafra, we're going to be spiritual people. When God created us originally, we are highly spiritual people. We didn't have to deal with religion restrictions. We were working with God the way God intended us to work with Him and worship Him. So when we enter into Biafraland, we are going to worship God in truth and in spirit. And we're going to understand what worshiping God in truth and in spirit.
Nelly Ofebu in some ways is saying the right thing, but with the wrong conception, without appropriate understanding of what she is saying. And Nelly Ofebu is a hypocrite. He's a hypocritical worshipper. There is nothing like worshiping in synagogue on Saturday and worshiping in the Christian church on Sunday. That is hypocrisy. And there is nothing like being a technical pastor and also adopting Islam and other religions, whatever. No, that should not be the issue. That should not be the issue. In Biafra, there should be freedom of worship. Anybody will choose to worship whatever he or she decides to worship. But it can only be problematic when people begin to mandate others to abandon their own system of worship and adopt to the very system of worship belonging to those who mandate them. For example, when the Christians begin to mandate others that they must become Christians or they will die for it, that is wrong, even in the sight of God. And no other religionist should be doing so. None of the religionists should be compelling others to worship, and nothing will make us worship together. We can never worship together. That is the concept Nelly is trying to establish here as a means to bringing us together. That we should not worship together because it is not the same spirit. It is not the same doctrine. It is not the same belief system, and it can never be the same God. Rather, she is taking the step of one Biafra religion, which is a segment to one world religion, worshiping different spirits under the guise of worshiping the same God. No, we can never serve two masters at a time. So it is wrong to worship in the synagogue on Saturday and worship in the Christian church on Sunday. She must belong to a particular one. And I am not here to judge anybody, but I am here to set the record straight. It is Jesus Christ who will judge everybody at the due time. Then places everybody to where each of us actually belong. So that is not my duty. My duty is to be proclaiming the real gospel of Jesus Christ and be telling the world the truth regarding every affair of women and developing the world psychologically day by day through the word of God and through social truthfulness. That is what I am hereby doing. So it is wrong to unite all of us together to worship in the same system or trying to say it doesn't matter. You can worship in the mosque or worship in the synagogue or the Judaistic synagogue or worship in the Christian church or worship in the temple of the cherubim and seraphim or whatever. No, all those things are irrelevant and it can never be right anywhere, any day. But that is Nelly's will. That is his choice. So I am here correcting the wrong conceptions and the errors as packaged in the program. That this video was also streamed on 23rd October 2023. So both of the video, the one I was playing previously and this particular one, which should be the first one and the main target, they were streamed the same day via the New Heritage International Ministry. So I made a mistake to begin with the second one, but the first one is my main target, and I have begun with it.
It's not about religion. I'm not saying any religion is bad. I'm not saying any religion is good. But one thing I'm going to tell you guys is that religion damages us. Religion is one of the problems that the whole world has, especially Africa. We're going to talk about why the devil used the religion to attack us in Biafra. But we are getting restored. We are going back to what we're supposed to be. We are going back to God's intention. President Lemon is like almost like a typical example of what all this. Even when he was going out through this, he didn't understand the implication for us. Especially now that we're trying to restore the kingdom of God. And we are the original people. Life started in Biafraland. Please remember when I was talking about SM Moscow, there was something she said about Niger. My spirit was troubled because I needed to hear her say something emphatically.
Religions have damaged Africa. Yes, that is true. But Christianity had never and can never damage Africans. Religions are the problems, but Christianity is the solution. Nelly Ofebu does not understand the differences between Christianity and religions. And she also claimed to be a pastor. So she is a misinformed pastor, though she is technically not really, but technically a pastor, not really a pastor. So her pastorship is not real, but technical, because she underwent pastoral training or theological education in some ways. Because she is confused about this, I am very, very factual about what I am saying, and I am willing to debate with anybody, anytime, any day, as deemed convenient between me and the person or the people. Christianity is the fundamental factor for the well-being of not only Biafrans, humanity at large. Christianity is the solution of life. But Satan hates Christianity. Satan propagates against Christianity. Satan scandalized Christianity and confused humanity to hate Christianity, which is the proper solution. And they make the mistake of focusing on Satan, the Lucifer, to find solution. They end up getting wrong solutions from Lucifer. What Lucifer do to humanity is when the humanity come to him to seek solution, he will solve the problem they had at the moment, then give them other problems. They will always return to him for solution, and in the process, he will colonize them completely. It is only the minority of humans who still have the right concept and the right knowledge of Christianity and hold Christianity intact, and not only holding it intact, but practice it day after day, that are still unique regarding human conception and system of worship. If the whole world had adopted Christianity, there will be no problem. There will be no problems in the world. But because the world have never adopted and can never adapt Christianity holistically, there will always be problem, because it is the source of the problem versus the source of the solution. And also, we cannot deny the fact that playing religion is the problem, but adopting the Christianity is the solution. But God did not ask me to kill anybody to accept Christianity, but God sent me to preach Christianity. Not only preaching it, practicing it, leading the Christian example, of which I do. And I am not. I have never been, and I can never be the problem of Africa and humanity. But I have been, and I will continue to be, the solution, a solution to humanity, because I am a real Christian. Then being born again, so talking about being born again as a born again Christian means that the person have changed from selfish life to live a godly life, the life that is selfless in all ramification, being controlled by the Holy Spirit. That is the factional definition of being born again. Not being born again from changing from one evil to another dimension of evil.
About our origin, the Biafran people, the Igbo people. We are the original creation. God created us. Life started with us. And we lived a certain way. We acted a certain way. We worship God a certain way. And that's what we're going to come back to.
All these things are superstitions, fallacies. Life started with Adam and Eve. God created Adam and Eve. No set of human beings were created differently. All these things are lies and fallacies. But I may just consider perhaps the Garden of Eden, where God placed Adam and Eve, is located in Igbo land. That is the only aspect I can accept it. Or when they were even chased out, after they have fallen, when they were chased out and they began to migrate and give birth to children, they somehow started their migration from the Igbo land area. But people trying to proclaim that God created the Igbos first and created others differently, that is an absolute fallacy. God did not create people as races segment by segment. It never happened and it can never happen. That is Igbotic philosophy and Igbotic superstition. God created Adam and Eve and they gave birth to people. Their children continue to give birth to people, and the human beings continue to multiply from ages to ages, from one age to another, from one dispensation to another. Then people continue to migrate, and there was a mass migration after the fall of the construction of the Tower of Babel. Then human beings continue to migrate. Each set of people who could understand the language being spoken by their fellows, they move together, they team up together and move. In migration from different parts of the world, that became a means for God pushing humanity to occupy diverse areas of the earth. So because if we do not have the right conception of the origin of humanity, we keep dangling around all these fallacies and be antagonizing each other wrongly and be defending what we never and what we never know. But bringing the reality into proper comprehension will make us to understand exactly where we are coming from and where we are right now and where we are going. That is what is our target. We face the reality and we solve the problems realistically.
And that's why the devil is fighting, because the devil doesn't want us to come back to who we are, to worship God the way we are. So Biafra, before we continue, I need us to understand, Biafra is our religion, is who we are as a person, as the way God made us. And we are going to return the way God made us. We are going to go back to where we used to be. I also want to let us know that after Biafra is restored, every single Biafran all over the world will find a way to come home. When President Raymond came to Nigeria, he thought he was a person. He thought himself to be a different person. But Elohim, the spirit of Biafra, knew who he was. And what did they do? They brought him to where he belonged. That's why every single Biafran is going to come back to Biafra because that's where they belong. So we're just splitting all this on the surface. We're going to go in depth. religion did more damage than anything else. So people can understand this. And I know that in due time, Elohim will bring it together. It's true. Together. Because we're going to restore Biafra. When Biafra is restored, all these are going to come together. Thank you. Please, may you continue, please. Before
Biafra being a religion, because Biafra is not my religion, but Biafra is my country. Biafra is my nation and not my religion. I am not a religionist and I'm not interested in religion, but I worship God in spirit and in truth via Christianity. So if we are talking about worshiping God in spirit and in truth, it must be according to God's pattern, according to God's formula. God never in anywhere in his word in the Bible tell us that Biafra is a religion to any people. Any people who take Biafra as their religion, that is their own choice. They choose it for themselves. God did not choose it for them. This is what I want us to understand. God, because if we say Biafra is the religion of the Biafra, America can also be the religion of the Americans. Spain, where I base, can also be the religion of the Spaniards. So all these things are human philosophy and the human choice. But God is the supreme determiner of human faith, of human system of worship, and doing it God's way will grant us success with God, and doing it our own way is misleading and will lead into destruction. Because after the earthly fortunes we are pursuing, there is also the eternal fortune, which is superior and eternal. That is where we should focus our ambition. And it doesn't matter who likes it or not. It will definitely happen, either as eternity is being spent in hell or in heaven, depending on how we live rightly with God or wrongly with God.
Let me just ask him something. You know, he like he said he's been touching them bit by bit, because I really will need explanation to so many things. Before we will still wait for Ezemo Wakedi to come in, because I would like him to put his input here. President Omodo, you know, you say you've been on this project for a long time, and you said something about what actually attracted you to Igbo land was you wanted to come to the land of the origin of man. So please, a lot of people don't know who we are. And you said when you came there, that there were people in that land, the forest people. You were saying something about the forest people. So me and you, can you give us a brief of how we met the forest people there, or the forest people, were they actually our ancestors, or did we migrate to come and meet them there? Unmute yourself. Yes.
Thank you. There are two streams with respect to the origin of the Igbo people. We have one thought which has revolutionized the Afrocentric approach to human origins. The Afrocentric approach to human origins has always been the Nile River Valley civilization, the Nile River Valley Basin, or East Africa. Everything that we have been able to find in our research with respect to science has placed the origin of man in East Africa. Homo sapiens sapien was discovered in East Africa to be 250,000 years old. So the whole world, and anyone who's involved in anything having to do with African research, or even those among us who are Africans, who are Black, who have done our research and who have done our history about human origins, who call ourselves Afrocentrists, this is what we believe. We believe that human origins was in East Africa with We have the one that they found in Ethiopia. What's her name? Lucy. Anthropithecus australicus, I believe it is, or afrensis. Anthropithecus afrensis. That's the Latin name or Greek name for Lucy, who was discovered in Ethiopia. She was called Eve, Mother Eve, the African Eve. They say she's the African Eve. But what we found in our research with Catherine Achilonum, we made a revolutionary research that turns that idea upside down, as it were, and we say that human origins did not come from East Africa, but from West Africa.
Yes.
So we have our research indicates that we have found the oldest hominid species in the Niger-Chad basin. We have found the oldest DNA in West Africa. What I'm talking to you now is science. This is not something that we need to argue about. This is fact that I'm giving you right now. The oldest DNA that has ever been found of human origins is 450,000 years old, and it comes from West Africa, and it comes from the Bo people in the area that we call Biafra today. And that gene was discovered by a descendant of an African slave in Virginia.
Prince, can you please go back again? Can you rewind? For what you just said.
The oldest DNA that has ever been found. You can go on DNA. You can go on Google it. The oldest DNA that has ever been discovered is 450,000 years old, and it was from the Bo people. You know, any people that have the word Bo after it shows that they're very ancient. So you have the Igbo, and then you have the Bo people off the coast of India. The Bo people off the coast of India are the blackest people on the planet Earth, and they are little people. We call them dwarfs. They are still here today. They are off the coast of India, way down below the continent of India, on the islands. They are black, and their origins are African. The Bo people, the DNA comes from the Bo people. It has its own designation. I think it's OOA, the haplotype. This haplotype is from the Bo people, of which Igbo is part. Igbo. It is 450,000 years old. Now that's the oldest DNA. That's the oldest human DNA that has ever been discovered. So that puts the human origins in West Africa, not East Africa. Now that's just one proof. There's more proofs than that, but that's one. That's probably one of the most significant discoveries that we made in our discovery of human origins. There are other discoveries that we have made. We have found that the oldest iron smelting civilization is in Nsuka. Did you know that? Nsuka, Leke, in Nsuka. That's the oldest iron smelting site on the planet.
Nsuka, in Enugu State.
I've been there a few times.
Yes, Biafraland, yes.
That's the oldest iron smelting site in the world. The oldest stone tool and the largest stone tool site is in Biafraland. And scientists have said that that's where language begins. Language begins with the people who were the first ones who made stone tools. That's Biafraland.
Yes, and that's why when our leader is talking, when he's praying in our language, he says that our language is the original language that is spoken in heaven. So he knows what he's talking. I got a spiritual implication on the deepest questions. Because the Igbo language is the the surface of the earth. This is the original language on the surface of the earth. That's why our leader, Martin Nandikan, always says that this is the language of the heaven, because it's the original language. So I'm very, very happy that you brought it up.
Well, I'll say this much, my dear sister and my brothers, I'm going to tell you something, and I don't mean to be insulting. I want you to know that I love my people.
Yes.
All right? So everything I'm saying it from a position of love. I'm not being critical. I'm not attacking. I'm not doing any of those things.
That's okay.
But when I say you, I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about all of us. So don't take it personal. But you don't understand your language. You don't understand Igbo.
And it's dying on.
You guys talk Igbo, but you don't know what you're talking about.
Yes.
You guys speak Igbo, but you don't know the depth of the things that you say. You don't know how sacred the language is. Now, I cannot speak Igbo. I don't know Igbo. I may know a few Igbo words, but I don't speak Igbo. But I know the sacredness of the language. And the truth of the spirit is in your language. And you need to study your language. You need to study the roots of your language if you want to know the truth. And I'm telling you this to you people who speak the language. I don't speak the language, and I know this. Now, I didn't come to this understanding on my own. I was taught this, and I was made to realize this by Dibia, by people who are Dibia, and who have shared with me when I went to them. Listen, I have some experiences that if I were to share it with you, you would not believe it. I could share some experiences that I've had when I went to the shrine of Nichuku. You all know who Nichuku is? The mother shrine?
Nichuku. Yeah.
Nichuku. Her.
Yes.
Have you ever been to her shrine?
No.
Do you know where her shrine is?
No.
I'm sorry, I'm just teasing you.
It's laughable. Yes, because that's what they did to us. That's what this religion, the white people, did to us. They know who we are. They make sure that we don't know who we are. They make sure we don't speak that language, because that language is what connects to God. Sometimes when I'm praying, Igbo is even deeper than what we know. Sometimes when I pray, the real language also comes out, and I get amazed, I get shocked. I'm like, why did the devil do this to us? They don't want us to speak that language, because that language is what connects us directly to Jehovah Elohim, the God Almighty, the creator of heaven and earth. I'm it's so shameful and embarrassing, but I know that our children, the generations to come, are not going to suffer this. They are going to connect to Elohim the way that he intended us to be. It's very shameful, it's embarrassing, but we can take it, because with whatever we're learning right now, we're going to help our children. In the next 100 years, coming, they are not going to be like us. They are going to be better than us, because they're going to understand that language. They're going to communicate to Elohim in that language. Not in, but we are on the right track, I believe.
Sorry, his name is Eno Molo, or Ero Molo. I've arrived home, so he didn't get his name very well. And like what
I want to say something.
Sorry.
Ezemo has to say something.
Yeah, Ezemo said we are the children of things fall apart. So you don't need to.
We call that Buo. We call Ndibuo. We are not called Ndibo. We were called Ndibuo. That Igbo, Hausa and the Yoruba is what they used to brainwash people or to colonize the people after things fall apart. We were called Ndibuo. Ancient people. We were called Ndibuo. We are not Ndibo. We are Ndibuo. And this Ndibuo, they speak their dialect. Each region have their dialect. My dialect is different from our dialect. It's different from what dialect. It's different from many dialects. But I have also dialect. We are all Ndibo. And these people, the ancient people, we are dwarf. I think they are short people. Yeah. We used to call it Nri. That Nri kingdom, we are made up of short people, dwarf people. But there is, I don't know, there is a migration. People, the first white people to travel to Africa down that place is they come through the ship, through the boat, and they land where near the rivers. And that is when they started having these children with the mixed chocolate, with the black women they put there in Africa. Like DNA, say the Scandinavia. Some people say that they are Jewish. The Israelites came to Africa through Omambra River, and they met those indigenous people. They started having children there with the black women they met there. So when people say that the origin is Israel, they are right somehow. They might not know the exact reason, but there's people who travel and they come there and they meet the black people. Alochuku also is agent during the slavery. And if you watch it in our comments here, like this man calling himself, I don't know what he's calling himself, all these people using fake names to be commenting in the comment section, they are the people who will never allow those people they sell to slave to return. And we better do it like a war because we have to fight.
Do we, the Igbos, actually come from Israel or elsewhere? How come about this controversy? Some of us believe we come from Israel, some say otherwise, and now we are hearing that the Biafraland, and most especially the Igbo land, is the center of human origin, and the Igbo language is the oldest language. There is probability that when God created humanity, all humanity were speaking Igbo. There is a probability. According to me, there is no certainty about it. So there is the possibility of the Igbo being the oldest language before the diversity of language starting from the God's Confucian weapon in at Babylon, at Babel, the center of the Babylon territory of the ancient days. Also, how should we be ascertain that we actually come from Israel? Go back and listen to my videos. Who are the Hebrews? Who are the Hebrews from Points of Reality Part 1 and 2? You realize that migration made many people. There are people who are actually the Hebrews from where we believe the name Igbo is derived. And Abraham is a Hebrew. Abraham came from somewhere. His territory, which is at Aram, is a Hebrew territory. Abraham is not an Israeli, but Israelis are Abrahamic. Abraham gave birth to Israel's father. Abraham is a forefather, is a grandfather to Israel, which is Jacob. Then Jacob had 12 sons and many daughters who were married to many other people among their fellow Israelis and other foreigners. Then from the 12th tribe, we have what is today the 12 tribes of Israel, of which there is the proclamation that the Igbos is a part of the tribe of Gad, who somewhere left Egypt and remigrated to the African side before the real Exodus, which Moses led. And also before then, people had been existing as the Hebrews from different people. All Hebrews are not Israel, are not Israelis, and all Israelis are not Hebrews. But the recent Israelis, the particular Israelis, are Abrahamic, and Abraham is a Hebrew. All Israel, all Israels Yes, actually Hebrew by ancestral grandfather, which is Abraham. So they are Hebrews, but all Hebrews are not Israelis. All Israelis are Hebrew, but all Hebrews are not Israelis. So there are people from Abrahamic lineage, that is those who came from Abraham's father's lineage or Abraham's siblings, who were also Hebrews and continue to have children and migrate. So any of the parts can find themselves anywhere. There are Hebrews in Ghana, there are Hebrews in all over West Africa, and there are Hebrews in different parts of Africa. Don't forget, Ishmael, which was an illegitimate son of Abraham, was also a Hebrew because he was born by Abraham, the Hebrew. That is part of the content of that my topic. So Ishmael and his descendants are illegitimate Hebrew according to Bible arrangement, according to promise. But the Isaac, I'm talking now between Ishmael and the Isaac who gave birth to Israel, and Ishmael who gave birth to the Arab, most of the Arab communities. So if we continue to trace it, we see that the majority of human beings, many among the human beings are Hebrews located in different, without we realizing it, if we trace it from biblical origin and from creation and how human beings began to migrate. So the concept that humanity began from Igbo land is still a philosophy, and Igbotic what is it called? The Igbotic superstition. There is no proof of its reality. However, we are talking about Christianity, religions, and political colonialism, Christianity versus religions and political colonialism in Africa, and now has to do with Biafraland. Religions are our problems, but Christianity is the solution until people have this right concept. For example, I practice Christianity and I bring solution through Christianity, and my Christianity is the solution. I mean the real Christianity, Christocentricity, the Christianity that is centered on Jesus Christ, the Christianity of Jesus Christ, and not all other fraudulent Christianity.
These people, we have to fight against them. They are only small. British use them. The slave masters use them. They know the game they play to the indigenous people of Africa. When you're fighting for your freedom, they will not allow you to say things the way you want to say it. Some of them do this by force. Our law, our ways of life, the nature one, we don't do things by force. We never force some people to do something. We have our ways of life, which in every was maintained. We maintain it in that area of Anambra and some part of Enugu. That Imo State, they don't want to maintain it. They divide and they guard the state from it. These people have been terrorizing that area for a long time from the Tiarotuku side, and we have to do it. They only hide them. They have their strategy of ruling everything. You see, our women are doing great job now. But at the end, some people will come and say, with the name of Nnamdi Kanu, they start fighting you. But to tell them to do their own thing, they will not do. But after people do the great work finish, they will do the character assassination. We will not allow that anymore. We are calling all our African American descendants to come. Because these people they take the indigenous people of that land away. And they learn their language. They occupy their land. They don't even know the history of the place. They don't know the history, the culture and the tradition. They bring their diabolical culture and tradition and impose it in that land. Because the people are practicing live and let live life. They are Democrats. So it's okay, sleep and let live. Bring their diabolical content and say, yes, it's sleep and let live. Doing it, killing people and eating their meat is their culture. So when we are serious facing the I don't know what they say, the Ugane. What is Ugane in English? The time of hunger. These people are eating everything, stealing the poor man's things, laying out allegation against our elders, our people, and they tell them that they have to go down to swear oath. And then they have built this tunnel. At the end of this tunnel was a slave ship. And they will go and put water, put paint, red paint inside the water. And they will pour it in that their water there in that shrine. And they will tell us, look at our ancestors. That the juju, long juju have killed them. But it's a lie. Because if the long juju we are killed those our ancestors, we cannot see somebody like Gelwo Muno. We cannot see somebody like Haki Kweli Seko. We cannot see all these African Americans and we cannot see them today. But it's the lack of our and we will not allow that thing to be existing today in our 21st century. This question is very important. This is why people are using fake names. So all these people who are using fake names to be agitating for Biafra, and they're asking them to answer their real name. They will go and they maneuver, and they come and say that you are saboteur. You want us to sabotage them. We don't want to sabotage anybody. We want to know everybody. Things happen to our land. Things fall apart in our place, and we want to make this thing to be good again. So for that, we want to make our place to be better again. And we want to confront all these people that will be feeling that we sell them to slavery. We don't want to be having double mind that we do bad things to people. These people also know that we did something to them. And we have to acknowledge it and do this atonement, and this is only what is going to help us. If not, because we keep on hiding with the fake names. Today, I don't want to call anybody names, but I will go to war if it will lead us to go to war. We will defend our own self. If the people that is selling us to slavery are using weapons, those indigenous people of the land, they have to equip themselves also. They have tagged us many names. During the Christian missionaries came, you see, when the missionary came to our land, our ancestors know God already. We were worshiping the gods and the goddess of our ancestors in those holy temple shrines. They call it the shrine, and they call us idol worshiper. This is the strategy that.
Before the Christian missionary came, I know among the Christian missionaries there were fraudulent ones and there were real ones among them. But before they came, the Biafrans, according to traditional Wokede, they were worshipping their ancestral gods and ancestral goddesses, meaning it wasn't only one God. But Nelly Ofebo is telling us we should be worshipping in spirit and in truth and in spirituality, trying to make us that it doesn't matter whether you worship as a Judaism, it doesn't matter whether you worship as a traditionalist, it doesn't matter the way you worship as a Muslim, but all we should focus is worshiping in spirit and in truth. No, it is impossible. It can never be possible. So the spirits that the Biafrans, we are worshiping them, the most of the spirit, we are not actually the Holy Spirit. It was not actually the real God. And the essence of the real Christianity, the essence of Christocentricity, the real Christianity, is to introduce the Holy Spirit and the way to worship God through the leading of the Holy Spirit. So that is the reason of emergence of the real Christianity. But the colonists, the slave traders, and the fraudsters from Europe and other parts of the world place themselves under the guise of Christianity or Christians to enslave the people more and more. Likewise, the religionists like the Muslims who came from the Arab world and the rest of the people and other sort of religions coming from Asian countries and the traditional religions having been in place before the arrival of the Christianity. Christianity is the movement, is the perfect movement as orchestrated by God, handed over by Jesus Christ to teach humanity, and not only to teach humanity, to lead a perfect example of life in that Christianity. That is exactly what Jesus Christ had done and is still doing. But for selfish interest, many people adulterate Christianity and use it to enslave others or colonize others. So the real Christianity is all about perfect freedom for all humanity and not only the Biafrans. But misconception of the Biafrans make them believe that Christianity is about enslaving humanity and most especially the Biafrans. It is about their wrong conception. So that is what I am here putting aright, setting the record straight, and bringing the realities and the truth into perfect comprehension.
They use, and now they go and bring their own idol. The one they first bring is Ubili Ubadi. They bring it from Ile. And that is what is in Oba Bini Palace. Oba Bini, this Oba Bini, this wicked, evil Oba Bini, kill a lot of ancient people, indigenous people. And his fun is coming to an end. I don't have respect for that man. He killed a lot of people. Even the Asian people knows this. The children of Igbo people knows this. All of them there, they know this, and they are fighting against him very hard. People should tell people the truth before we started killing each other. All these are our traditional leaders. All these are our traditional leaders. They are not our traditional leader. They make coup and they dethrone our traditional leaders and send Ezeri to exile. They send Obi of Newi to exile, and then they put all this like impostor to us. The king that is going to church, who do not know about the Nechuku, who do not know all the names of the shrines in our land, who do not know our history. The one, if you ask him about anything that he don't know, in the night when you are sleeping, he will kill you. You will be assassinated and killed like that. And nobody is going to be answerable to you. They will just call you a drunkard or a smoker, or they will just tag you a name. We want to be free, and we must be free. This is the time to be free. All these people that use the slave money and travel to many places. For example, Abreba business is second-hand clothes and the stock fish.
We want to be free and we need to be free, but if we find the freedom in the wrong way, we make the matter worse rather than getting the freedom. That is the fact we must face. And actually, the majority of the Igbo and Biafra ancestors were idolatrous. So what happened is the same case with the Israelis. God had ordained the Israelis, most especially as a requirement of all human beings, to worship him in spirit and in truth under the leadership of the Holy Spirit. But they refused to do so. They began to worship idolatrously, demonically, and diabolically. So God will raise other set of people anytime, any day, who are more demonic and more idolatrous than the Israelis, to invade the Israelis and bring them to their knees. So there is the hand of God in everything that had happened in the past. If we are to be honest, he is emphatic on the Abia State indigenes, the current Abia State indigenes comprising of the Ngwa, Umuahia, Ohafia, Abreba, Rochukwu, Ibere, and the rest of us. But emphatically on the Arochukwu, Ohafia, and the Abreba, and Abam as well. So if we are to talk about this worship of a thing and about the conquest, let us not talk about the social aspect of the misunderstanding. If we are to talk about the worship system, yes, the Igbo ancestors abandoned the real God and began to worship their ancestral gods and goddesses, of which my people, the Ohafians, the Abrebans, and the Arochukwu also did. But if you talk about idolatrous and diabolism, occultism, the Ohafians did it more than the rest of the people. And I can also assure you that there is the hand of God allowing the Ohafia people to be invading the Anambrans in those days, as traditional Mukezi speak, that we are very small but causing a lot of havoc, of which I never supported that havoc and I would never support it. But there is the hand of God in it in those days, since the Anambrans, who are the chief Igbos, the leading Igbo people who should be leading us in godliness, failed to do so. They began to lead the people in idolatry and idol worship. Then there is a rise of misunderstanding, confusion among them. And the Ohafians and the rest of the people who were more idolatrous then than the Anambra people invaded them and continued to enslave them, of which I never supported. However, the Anambra people also have their own areas of bringing divisions among the Igbo people. But I will not begin to elaborate on it because I do not have accurate information about their own shortcomings.
It's declared by Baka when the Arochukwu, Ahobia, and Dabreba were selling our ancestors to slavery. How did they get the money back? They give them slave, they give them human being, and they get our cracker, and they stock fish. This is their business. Nobody is doing this business. It's only Abreba and only Abreba people is doing this business. If you are an Igbo man, go and try the business. You see how they will eliminate you, and they will tell us that we are one. This is Biafra struggle. The real Biafrans wanted to get Biafra, but the fake Biafrans wanted to be making money on top of you, because their ancestors sold our ancestors to. This atonement, I am 100% in support of this atonement. Even if you will take my life, I will do it so that I will be sure of something last. Yes, I want to make sure that my ancestors do not participate in a slave, because the place that I was born is in the kingdom. Everything is history there. When they were killing the dwarfs, there's a time that they kill all the dwarfs, but those dwarfs become safe in the kingdom. Nobody kills them there. But Oba Benin massacred a lot of them. He killed all of them from Benin, from many places. That is Oba Benin you are seeing there. Yes. There's one man called the judge of Opobo. He's from Moro, Amuibo, in Imo State. He grew the top teeth. Ezen before Ezana. They sold him to the slavery. At the age of 14, they sold him to Bonnie. And the Bonnie people later sold him again to the British. And he later come back. King Jaja of Opobo. These people did a lot of things to that land. And we must stand up. We must stand up and do this. And this is the only way that we have to progress. Go to many villages now. I don't want to mention a name. But because if I'm mentioning a name, they will say that I'm instigating a civil war. But I want all Biafrans to acknowledge all this thing. This thing now is in the Biafra struggle. This one is attacking this one. This one is attacking this one. This one is attacking the other one. Everybody attacking each other. They may be wrong. They may be right. But we have to make a round table where people will be talking listening to him. Some people like me, I was born in a place, and they told me that this place was a town before with 9 villages. They used to known as a blacksmith. So they make gun, they make a knife, they make many things. So later on, the entire villagers become afraid of these people. They started thinking that one day these people will grow and they conquer them. That is better, let them plan something to do these people to eliminate them. So now they call people from Arochukwu, Mahavia, and Dabreba with the slave trade, with the slave masters. So this is how they can be able to conquer my town. And they sell a lot of people there to slavery. Look all these people in America, all these African-American slavery, are they not like me?
Sure.
Didn't they look like me?
Even as tall as you are.
They were taken from my place. And they have to come back. If they do not come, I better give myself first and die like all these people who died in that place. I don't even care what people are talking about me.
Without them, there's no Biafra. Without them, there's no Biafra.
I want to chip in something. At this very stage that we are, fortunately or unfortunately, nobody can stop Biafra. This is God's own project. This is his own timing. The only thing we have to do is to do the things that we need to do. And nobody can stop us from doing that thing. Two things, this atonement. We have to own up to the sins that we've committed. Whether we like it or not, the spirit of Biafra will force us to do it. Prince Eluemuna said something when he went to Aaron. They acknowledged all the evil that we did, that our ancestors did. But then they were in denial. They were out of embarrassment, out of shame, or out of knowing that Biafra will come if they acknowledge it. That is why they didn't want to acknowledge it. They told him, we are going to accept you, but we're not going to accept other people. That's the lie of the devil. Because the devil wants us to meet God one-on-one, to worship God in truth and in spirit. But it is so different right now. Because God himself is the one doing it. This is no longer us. We are not the ones fighting to do this. We're just going to follow directions. Follow instructions, and everything will come to pass. They're all going crazy because somebody said something about autopilot. Autopilot doesn't mean nothing except that the spirit of Biafra is the one that is directing the affairs. What we're doing is spiritual because we are spiritual people. When we talk about what we are doing is spiritual. People don't understand. Yes, what we are doing is spiritual because we're spiritual people. And only the spirit has control of it. So Biafra is already here and nobody can stop it. We just have to follow direction. We have to own to the evil that we did. We sold our own. We killed our own. We committed the sin of cannibalism. We did that even right now. We're still putting people in bondage. There is the Osuka system, the Oruka system. These are different forms of slavery. And that is what we have to own up to. And we have to ask for forgiveness. Because the gods of the land is going to strike anybody that is trying to obstruct this. We have a choice. We're going to acknowledge that we did something wrong. We are going to ask for forgiveness. There's going to be this atonement, and nobody can stop this atonement. Anybody that tries to come in the way of this atonement, the gods of our land will destroy them. Because we're going to this atonement. We are going to
Yes, I have to say something here. Yes. Because of our discussion here, we will talk about villages. We can even talk about my grandfather. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter. We are not trying to undermine anybody or stereotype anybody. But without confession, there's no true forgiveness. And that is what we are after right here. You understand? So we are going to say the truth the way it is, and we're going to do the right thing, and Chukwu Kikabema will now give us Biafra at the end. That's only what we are looking for. Yes. So I know
have been suffering because of this thing, and they about to confess and then accepted this thing until Biafra come. They just enter inside the Biafra and see money, small money, and they started doing the thing again because if you like do anything to a pig, you have to go to the dead water. If you like do anything to Obana, I don't know what is that. You have to so it's been their character, their culture.
I will see. I will open the line for our
like Kinden Nayanya, who entered the Biafra, and then that spirit entered her brain again. It started collecting money.
Okay,
all these people.
Yeah, because at this point now, it's money they are talking about. The Biafra's battle. It's money. We have not even entered the Biafra thing. The money issue is all over, everywhere. You understand? But hold on, please. We are going to open the line for our viewers to participate.
Mr. Lemon will say something. Let him do a
I'm coming to him right now. Before I open the line, I'm coming back to Chief Enomono. I'm interested in what he said, and he was saying something about nature. Do we know where nature is?
Yes, that's what I did.
I'm interested. Chief Enomono, please continue.
Is located, I think, in 2 places or 3 places in Igboland.
It's quite embarrassing. He's the one teaching us all these things. Can you imagine?
Yeah, it's because most of us don't know the history. Because we keep on reading the Bible. When they try to teach them about Igbo culture and tradition, they say that you are idol worshiper, that you are in a Belarus. This is also why many Biafrans hate me, because when I try to direct Mazen Nandekano and try to note that Alose, instead of shouting on the radio Biafra that you don't worship idol, try to understand what that idol, because each one, like this is now, I can call it idol.
Alose is not the real God. Alose is controlled by demons. So I want us to face the fact. A person like traditional Mokede does not want to forsake the idolatry. Rather, she will be fabricating different sorts of reasons and logic to justify idol worship. So, the idol worship, the traditional idol worship, is a major problem of the religious religious havoc we have in Biafraland, and not actually the real Christianity. Then other religions are problematic to Biafrans. Also, colonial Christianity is problematic to Biafrans and Africans and humanity at large. But the only solution regarding worship is real Christianity, which is Christocentricity, the Christianity of Jesus Christ, which is centered on Jesus Christ and based on the teachings, mission, and visions of Jesus the Christ.
It's an artifact, but they have a history. All this thing here is a history. That's the idol. How about our histories? We better go there and find out our history. And the Mazen can later acknowledge that he's not saying it anymore in the radio Biafra. And this Yalose people are the people doing all this. This Yalose people are the people doing great things. Many people are now coming back to their culture and the tradition back again. But they do not acknowledge that this is why traditional Mukede stand up and fight for something. Now they are coming for that, but they have to throw traditional Mukede away, but they will be doing culture and tradition. That idiot call himself master prophet. He been doing pastor. He do not pastor anything. He just carried all the women in the church and started pregnanting them. This is how the church closed. He entered to become a rabbi. He do not rabbi anything. He come out. Now he wanted to do church. He wanted to do tradition. What this is a character assassination have to end. I worked for, and I started it long time ago. And then I don't need anybody to tell me you don't do it good because you're not from my region. You're from another region who hate my own region. You are from the region who sold my people to slavery. And I survived there. I know how I survived there. Don't tell me that we are one family or one this, then fight there, and we close my hand and tight my leg. I'm a freedom fighter. I started fighting when I was young. I left that place when I was 14 years. And I started traveling many villages to go and find out all these findings that I am founding. I don't have money. My father don't have money. I have to be doing small business. Sometimes I become Okada. I have do Okada in my life. I have do conductor. I have open business and my money finished. I have to start again afresh. All this is what I have to go through to become traditional Muke. And then now, I am in Berlin since yesterday. We are going from different museum to one museum, from different historical places to another historical places. What am I searching for? How I will better my place? And I'll have to tell you that the Arochukwu history, culture, and tradition do not survive. What survives is the kingdom's culture, history, and the tradition. It's medicine after death. When we are looking for Biafra, I want to advise Abreba people, Arochukwu people, or Hofia people. All this culture and tradition you see in Arochukwu today can be able to parade in an open place because of what? It's not Arochukwu culture, it's in kingdom's culture. Arochukwu culture is selling slavery and eating human flesh. And that is over. It's no more in existence. There's nowhere. All these children who cried and they accepted the low motor. And the people who are going to be blessed and they will replace Arochukwu. They will do this atonement. The gods and the goddess and the spirit of our ancestors will wipe all of you away. You never see something. You are still using fake name that you take for Biafra. When Biafra come, do you think we will accept you with the fake names? When Biafra come, we want to know who you are and who your father is and the roles your father and your grandfather play in our land. We will find out those who destroyed Igbo land. We will not take it easy with any of you. And we will do it in our own ways. We hand it to the deities of our God, the God and goddess of our land, to do the fight. Using fake name will not help you in this Biafra struggle. Answering Yahweh in the Joshua Young cannot help you. I'm coming out, let me tell you, I'm coming out in the next 5 days. And I will finish you in that program you are here. I want all African Americans to be watching that man calling himself Yahweh in Joshua Young. He's not an Igbo name. The man have to say who he is. Not only him, all these people that is using fake name, here, they have to cease to exist. Even if we can see Nnamdi Kanu, let the message go to Nnamdi Kanu direct. All these people using fake name to be doing Biafra. Let them go out of this struggle. Because they are not, we cannot be whiter than white. And using somebody who is fake name. You have making us to become black and white. Or blacker than black. I'm not as Psalm 1, you are reading Psalms now. Psalm 1 told me that the blessed are me when I'm not associating myself with the people like you. I know that I do away with the people like those people that is using fake names. Because everything I lay my hand is whiter than white. Go and read your Psalm 1. Go ahead, Dr. Derry.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You
have to be mindful that President Luemuna is here and he doesn't know a lot of the topic we're talking about.
He's a good man. I know him. And I know that when this time comes, I will call my people from there. Because we see what he said. Those people that is claiming that they are Igbos, claiming that they are Biafra, they are not Igbos. They only that they are speaking the language. Even they cannot even say the proverb because we catch them with the proverb. With this proverb, yes, we catch them with that when the times come. And when they push us to the wall, I have to know upfront that to call my people from African Americans to speak. Yes, and when they started speaking from here, all these people who do not go to school like me will disappear when they will run away.
And now we want to go back. It's so shameful.
You know, we don't normally have a chief Enomola. We always have him here. People say they really want to hear more from him, but
okay, it's good that he's here.
Okay, let's hear from him.
So,
okay, thank you very much.
Chief Enomola, please, it's so exciting. Please, can you tell us about the nature for the war, please?
I think you muted.
Unmute yourself.
I'm sorry. Let me say that I love my brother very much.
Yeah.
I love all of you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I will love you.
I don't know all the aspects of what it is that you're talking about or speaking to. You know, I have some orientation about, you know, Biafra, IPOB, Masob, and all of these different entities. I have some idea about them, but I have never really been involved in any of their activities. My position with respect to the culture, to the spirituality, and so on, has not only been as a scholar, but as a practitioner. I have done some things that they're just too profound for me to talk about. I would have to talk about it at another time because this is not the platform or the place for me to relate those things, but they're in a high, very spiritual plane. Let me say this though, I had been on a search for identity all my life. I have been on a search for truth all my life. I have been on a search for spirituality all my life. I think maybe, I don't speak for myself, I think maybe for most of you, this is the same thing. And my search and my experience has been sort of hampered. You know, something was in the way of my journey. Something was in the way of my search. Something was in the way of my research. Something was in the way in my attaining that which I was seeking. And it wasn't until I confronted that and turned it out of my life that I began to understand all things. I began to understand spirituality. I began to understand history. I had a great understanding of many things that find me in a different place today than I was when I left Igbo land in 2019. You know, in my search for spirituality, I was going to Afa, and then they have Ifa in Yoruba. Ifa and Afa are the same, but I think Afa is older. Now, the things that we understand from Afa, I'm only giving you from what I understand from Dibia. There's only one African spirituality. There's only one African spirituality, but it has many expressions. And Afa is one of them. Ifa is one of them. When we look at the hieroglyphics of Egypt, when we go to the spirituality that was in Egypt, when we understand what was taught in the temples of Egypt, it's the same thing as Ifa and Afa. Now, when I discovered that African spirituality is only really one, and that what we're learning in Afa, I don't know how many of you have gone to and had any relationships with any Dibia, but when you have to be initiated to really get into what the Dibias teach. I have never been initiated, but I have been in the presence of Dibia, and I have learned a lot. And the things that are being taught in Akka are the same things that are being taught, were the same things that were being taught in the temples of Egypt. Now, when you go and you understand what was taught in the temples of Egypt, you know, above the temples of Egypt, there was a saying, above the temples of Egypt. Do you know what that saying was? Any of you that may have done any research on ancient Egyptian spirituality. Above the temples of Egypt, there was a sign, there was an inscription. And the inscription says, know thyself. Know thyself. The spirituality, that is the true spirituality, the goal of that spirituality is to know thyself. That is the basis of spirituality. In the Bible, it is called I am. I am.
Wow.
You know, God's name is not Jehovah. All these names that you give God, that's not his name, you know. These are titles that we give to him. Chukwu Abiyama, Chukwu, all these names. Even in the Bible, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, Jehovah, Elohim, all these names, those are not his name. He only has one name. When Moses went to the burning bush, and he was told to deliver Israel, that he was the one that was going to deliver Israel, he asked the deity, he asked Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, what is, when they say to me, what is his name? What am I going to tell them? They're going to want to know what your name is. What should I tell them what your name is? And he said, I am. That I am. Tell them I am. Sit, you. He says, this is my name forever. That is the only name that he has ever called himself. He never called himself Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. He never called himself all these other names that we find in the Bible. When you look at the name that he called by himself, he says, I am. I am. What does that mean? I am is the awareness of being. That's what I am is. I am is the awareness of being. We don't understand what that means. I am is the awareness of being. I am is the verb to be. So what does it mean to be an Igbo and to come into self-awareness? See, this is the secret. All of us as human beings, all of us as Igbo, and I like to look at, when you look at it analytically, when you look at it scientifically, when you look at it historically.
God introducing himself as I am, which conveys being, means the reality of God's existence. And that is God introducing himself to Moses. That conveys the reality of God's existence. And there is nothing wrong for worshiping that real God who created heaven and earth. So, if we worship that real God through Christianity, there is nothing wrong with it. But if we enslave people or defraud people in the name of Christianity, it is absolutely wrong. So Christianity can be can be a solution or be a problem depending on how it is applied. But the real Christianity is meant to be solution.
When you look at it genetically, you can go through every category of the arts and sciences, that which we are able to uncover with our mind, with our intellect, and we can see where originated, where mankind originated. But what does it mean spiritually? What does it mean to discover the origin of man spiritually? The origin of man spiritually is with I am. The awareness of being. In other words, we have to have the awareness of who we are. Now, once we reach that awareness, once I understood what that was, and I entered into true spirituality, I had come to a realization that to be into the awareness of who I am and to come into the awareness of who God is, I had to come into the understanding of something that the Bible talks about, which no other book talks about. I used to be angry with the Bible. I used to be very angry with the Bible. I used to be very angry with the teachings of Jesus and so on. I was very angry and I rejected it. But when I found out what true spirituality was, the Bible became a new book to me. Because see, I don't read the Bible like Christians read it. I don't read the Bible like Jews read it. I don't read the Bible like anyone else reads it. Spiritual things are spiritually discerned. You have to have the Spirit to understand the things of the Spirit. You can't come to it with your own mind. God is love. That's what it is. God is love. If you don't know or understand anything about spirituality, understand that God is love. And that we are from God. We are God's children. We are God's people. I will even go further and say that we are God's.
Yeah.
Okay? When people talk about when I was away from, when I was not a Christian, I was never really a Christian, but they would always question me about my relationship to Jesus. What do you think about Jesus? My Christian brothers would come to me and say, what do you think about Jesus? They try to catch me. They try to catch me in my words. They try to catch me in my understanding. They try to catch me in my faith. It's the same kind of thing. When you read the New Testament, you read about how Jesus was tested by his enemies. They try to test him with questions. They try to test him with this scenario or that scenario. And I was tested the same way. And so I would always answer this way. What do you think about Jesus? And this is what I would answer to them. I said, well, I believe about Jesus, but I don't believe about it the way you do. Because everything Jesus said, listen to me carefully. Everything Jesus said, I said. Everything that came out of Jesus' mouth comes out of my mouth. All the words that Jesus said, I say. I don't have the faith about Jesus. I have the faith of Jesus. In other words, whatever Jesus believed, I believe the same exact thing. Whatever Jesus said, I say the very same exact thing. Now, how many of you can do that? How many of you can say that? Now, I had to forgive the Bible because I had a certain relationship with the Bible that was adversarial. That is, the Bible was a book of enslavement to me. I had to forgive the Bible for being a book of enslavement. I had to forgive Jesus. Did you know that I had to forgive Jesus? You know why I had to forgive Jesus? I had to forgive Jesus for being white. Not only did I forgive Jesus for being white, you know who I forgave? I forgave the entire white race. You know, I have a document, a certificate that I made, and I made it to the entire white race, in which I absolved them of all their crimes against me, against my people. I forgave them. I forgave Jesus for being white. I forgave my Aro people for selling my ancestors into slavery. I forgave them. There is where atonement begins. There is where reconciliation begins, because I came into the awareness of God. I came into the awareness of I am. I came into the awareness that in order for me to be like God, in order for me to be like Jesus, I had to be the instrument of love, not only to myself, but to my people. I had to forgive myself of this anger. My brothers and sisters, if you do not forgive yourself and get rid of this anger, you won't find nothing. You won't find God. You won't find spirituality. You won't find atonement. You won't find nothing. Because anger has no place in the kingdom of God. Anger can only go away when you forgive. A person who is angry is insane. A person who is angry does not know what they're doing. If you're going to proceed in a mindset of anger, you're confused. You have to get rid of anger. You know how I know this? Because Jesus, when he was on the cross, anger put him on that cross. And you know what he said? He said, Father, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing. He forgave anger because when you're angry, you don't know what you're doing. You will never reach the awareness of what it means to be in the presence of God. The only way you can understand to know what it means to be in the presence of God is to understand who I am is in the presence of God. You have to have the awareness of being in the presence of God. You have to have the awareness of being present in the presence. Let me say it again. You have to have the awareness of being present. P-R-E-S-E-N-T, present. You have to have the awareness of being present in the presence. P-R-E-N-C-S-E, presence. In other words, now. You have to have the awareness of being in the now. Now, let me tell you how I learned this. You know how I learned this? I'm going to give you two names. Joseph Murphy. I said it 3 times. Neville Goddard. You guys never heard of these people. You don't know these people. But these were people in the United States who started teaching about what we call being mindful. Have you all ever heard of that, being mindful or mindfulness? Listen to me carefully. You know why I started listening to these people? Because what they were teaching were the teachings of ancient Egypt. And you know who taught them? An Ethiopian rabbi taught them. An Ethiopian rabbi taught them this. An Ethiopian rabbi was teaching them the secrets of the ancient spirituality of Egypt. That's how I learned about it. And of course, when I heard about this Ethiopian rabbi that was teaching this thing, this got me back into understanding what the Bible was talking about, because the Bible, we don't know how to read the Bible. You see, when Christianity came to Igbo land, when Christianity came to West Africa, what they gave you was your own religion but they turned it upside down. They gave it back. They took African spirituality, the original Christian belief and teaching, they turned it all around, and they gave it back to you, and that's what you believe now. Christianity is not white man's religion. Christianity, those people who say that Christianity is a white man religion, the Ethiopians would have a problem with you, because the Ethiopians have a Christianity that predates anything that came to West Africa. Christianity is an African religion. What you understand as Afa, Odinana,
Omenala.
yeah, all that. That is Christianity, but you don't know it.
Ordinana.
What you read in the Bible is the true Afa, but you don't know it because you don't know how to read it. You don't know how to read it. You don't know how to read the Bible esoterically. You don't know how to read the Bible psychologically. You cannot read the Bible the way that you've been taught to read it. You will never get to the awareness of who you are by reading the Bible the way that it's been delivered to you by the missionaries. You will not learn it that way. You have to have a new perspective when it comes to spirituality, and that begins with you as the individual. You have to come into the awareness of who you are. And when you come into the awareness of who you are, the world, everything, the Bible, it will become a new thing to you. Because you have no anger. When you have no anger, my brothers, you are at peace with everyone. We have to come to this atonement without anger. You know, everybody is guilty. We're all guilty, you know. We don't have to blame the arrow. We don't have to blame those folk, my ancestors in Igbo land that sold my ancestors to slavery. No. I don't have to blame the Arabs. We all are guilty. You know why? Slavery was an equal opportunity employer. Slavery was more, it was more famous, I can't think of the right word, but it was
more lucrative.
You know, you've heard of McDonald's, right? McDonald's is the hamburger place.
Yes.
Right? They sell hamburgers.
Yes.
They sold over 1 billion hamburgers. McDonald's is everywhere in the world, right? They got McDonald's in China. They got McDonald's in Russia. They got McDonald's in Europe. They got McDonald's in just about every major nation. I didn't see no McDonald's in Nigeria, but they have them just about everywhere. Slavery was more common than McDonald's. Slavery was more common than McDonald's. You could go to, almost literally, you could go down to Bonnie with a boatload of Africans, and you could get a hamburger right off that ship. I'm speaking metaphorically when I say that. Slave trading was like that. It was almost fast food. That's how quick it was, and that's how pervasive it was. And everybody got a piece of that pie. Everybody got a piece of that slavery pie, even African Americans. Do you know that my African Americans ancestors came to Nigeria and helped colonize Nigeria? Did you know that? I have to give my own African American ancestors for the part they played. That's what I mean when I say that no one has clean hands when it comes to this. We're all guilty. We all got a piece of that pie. And the only way that we can get around it is not only to acknowledge it, but...
So between traditional Nwokede and Chief Eromono, Sidney Davis, Nelly Ofebu, and Chinwe Acholonu, we have two sets of people. The three of them, the three of Nelly Ofebu, traditional Nwokede, and Sister Chinwe Acholonu have wrong conception about Christianity, but Sidney Davis, which is Mazero Mono, had an average right conception of Christianity, and all of them handle it according to their conception of Christianity. That is exactly the same problem with the majority of Africans. And I'm not the person saying it now, that the Christianity they are talking about is dependent on how they conceive it, or how they understand it, or how it is being introduced to them, because most Africans think that Christianity is the European or American religion, white man religion per se, which is not true. It is fallacious. Christianity is orchestrated from heaven, born in Israel in the person of Jesus Christ, established by the same Jesus Christ, having his first disciples from indigenous Israelis, aiming at spreading the Christianity to the whole world. And Christianity first arrived in Ethiopia, first arrived in Africa. Christianity had been in existence in Africa even before it got to Europe. But because the majority of Africans are so reluctant, the same Christianity that was given to them in the first place, in its originality and reality, they waited to receive the colonists, the European and American colonists, as we have heard Prince Eromono explain that even his own African American ancestors were part of the colonization in Africa and Nigeria, to be precise. The same thing is repeating even in our current day. Ask the Africans, most especially the Biafrans, create avenue to learn the Bible and have accurate understanding of the Bible and Christianity, they will refuse. Yet, the foreigners, including indigenous Biafrans, will continue colonizing them, except myself, because nobody can colonize me with false Christianity, because I already know the real Christianity. I already have the real knowledge of the true Christianity. So nobody can ever colonize me as an individual. I am beyond that. And I want people to be like me. But the refusal of the people to learn, the greatest problem the Africans have is their refusal to search out for knowing the truth. They only want to argue and establish their wrong conception, their wrong perspective, and be ready to fight against anybody who refuses to adopt their wrong perception of everything. That is the greatest problem of Africans. Self-conceit. Africans are conceited. They hate advancing in learning. They celebrate their mediocratic knowledge and blame every other one, even those who come to colonize them with advanced knowledge. But tell them to acquire the advanced knowledge and know the truth, so that they will be able to resist the falsehood and the fraudsters. At every moment, they will say no. All the greatest thing that Africans create is complaint. Complaint is the greatest thing that Africans manufacture. They will complain. They will never take the proper responsibility. That is what has kept us here. The same Christianity brought to Africa is brought to the Europeans, it brought to the Americans, but the people choose what they want from it and abandon what they do not want from it. Then there are fraudsters among them. Fraudsters under the guise of Christians. They are in America, they are in Europe, and they are in Africa, and they can never stop. But it is your duty to stop them. And you can never stop them unless you know the truth about Christianity. Then you will be willing to resist, because all these things I'm saying are satanic. But only those who have the real knowledge can resist that Satan. And the Bible says we should resist the devil, who is roaring around hovering around looking for whom he may devour with his tricks, with his fraudulence, with his colonial religion, with his extortion. He has only come to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But we can only resist him and all of his emissaries from all nook and crannies of the globe only when we know the truth and stand by the truth. And as soon as they realize we know the truth, they begin to run away from us. But if we do not know the truth, they'll continue to take advantage of our ignorance. The Africans worship their ignorance when they should learn to know the truth and to use the truth against falsehood and to resist every sort of victimization.
We have to forgive it, and then we have to come to the awareness of what it means to forgive, and that is not to have anger. If we come into this thing with anger, you might as well forget it. You're not going nowhere. You can make all the noise you want in the world. You can philosophize all you want. You can curse and bless and do everything that you want to do. If you have anger, please hang up. Please go away. There is no place in this movement of spirituality if you're going to have anger, because there's no anger in the Spirit of God. When you understand who God is, when you understand who you are, when you understand who God made you to be, when you understand the awareness of what your being is, you will have love. You will have love for everyone. Listen, when I came to Nigeria, I didn't know about this tribalism stuff that you all were doing. I didn't understand this thing about, I came over there as a Fula, right? If I had known this thing that was happening between the Fulas and the Igbos, I probably would have been afraid to come to Africa. I probably would never come, because I would have seen all this stuff between this tribalism that's going on in Nigeria. If I had known that before I came, I probably would never come. If I had known this antipathy that existed between the people in Africa, in Nigeria, I probably would never come. There's a lot of anger going around there. There are people of goodwill everywhere. I was a Pan-Africanist. Before I came to Nigeria, before I set foot on Africa, I was a Pan-Africanist. When we came into African consciousness in the 60s, in the 60s, when I grew up as a young man, we would never call ourselves Africans. We would never call ourselves black. We were colored people. We were Negroes. On my birth certificate, it doesn't say black. On my birth certificate, it doesn't say African American. It doesn't say that. You know what it says on my birth certificate? It says Negro. Negro. We would never call ourselves African Americans. We would never call ourselves black or anything like that. But when this consciousness came to us in the 60s about being black and proud, you've heard that, I'm black and I'm proud. We began to embrace what it meant to be black. And we began to embrace what it meant to be African and to be African. And we didn't know anything about being Igbo, being Fula, being from this tribe in Ghana, being from this tribe in Liberia, being from this tribe in Ivory Coast, being from this tribe. We didn't know anything about that. Only thing we knew was Africa. And so we would wear African clothes. And we didn't care where it came from. We didn't care whether it came from the Fula. We didn't care whether it came from the Igbo. We didn't care where it came from the Yoruba. For us, it was all the same. This is Africa. So we would wear African clothes. We didn't know that we were wearing Yoruba clothing. We didn't know we were wearing Hausa clothing. We didn't know that we were wearing Fulani clothing. We didn't know that we were wearing Igbo clothing. I didn't understand none of that until I came to Nigeria. I said, oh, you can't dress like that, because if you dress like that, that means you come from this place. Oh, you can't dress like this, because if you dress like that, that means you come from this place. So there was this tribalism thing. There's no tribalism here among African Americans, because we're all mixed up. I can claim any tribe. I can claim any tribe to say that I'm from Africa. I can claim to be Ashanti. I can claim to be Hausa. I can claim to be Fula. I can claim to be Igbo, because when they brought us over here, they didn't keep us separated by our tribes. They mixed us all up so that we couldn't identify where we came from. So I am Ilumuno. I am Sidney Davis. In me is the blood of all Africa. And I'm not speaking for myself. I speak for my brothers over here. We're all mixed up, and we're not coming back to Africa saying I'm a sectarian tribalist, because we don't believe in that. We are Pan-African. We embrace all of our brothers and sisters. We have, well, now I'm speaking for myself. I have no hate toward no one. I embrace all of my brothers and sisters. I embrace everybody that's in my DNA. I embrace everybody that is in me. I embrace them, and I love them. I was not always that way. I used to have self-hatred. I used to hate myself. I used to hate my Scandinavian DNA. I used to hate certain DNA that separated me from being what I wanted to be. I had to get rid of that hatred. And I had to learn to love myself. I had to come into the awareness of who I am. I had to come into the awareness of being. I had to come into the awareness of what it meant to be spiritual, truly spiritual. I had to come into the awareness of what it meant to be God. I'm a God to my people. We are gods to our people. We cannot afford to have hatred. We cannot afford to be distinct, all this tribalism stuff. It is not just Igbos that need to repent and return and make atonement. All of Africa has to do it. All of Nigeria has to do it. I think that what Biafra is doing, I think what Biafraland is doing, is beginning a thing that will proliferate and spread, not just in Biafraland, not just in Biafra, but all over Nigeria, all over Africa, all over the world. What you are initiating, what you hope to begin, is just the beginning. It is not the end. You're just starting. You're like a baby beginning to walk. What you've initiated, you don't realize how great it is. You can't put a limit on it. The spirit. I will not answer so much. My brother, do you have problem with me? For me? Are you talking to me?
We're hearing your voice here.
All right. My brothers and sisters, I don't know how to say it much better than what I've said it right now. Except that you, and I'm not going to say you, when I say you, I'm not speaking to you, I'm speaking to all of us, I'm even speaking to myself. You have begun something that is just the beginning. It's just a baby getting up, learning how to walk. We have a great work to do in bringing this consciousness not only to you and I as individuals, those of us who are here, but to our people, to our families, to our land. The healing is not just for us as people. Our land has to be healed too. The land is cursed. We have to bring healing to the land as well as to the people. And so this is a spiritual movement that has just begun. I am so happy to see it being, some attention being given to it with what I see happening here, because I had I had given up on Africa. I had given up on everything. I wasn't having any kind of communication with anything having to do with Africans after I left Africa in 2019. I was surprised that my brother called me on the phone and told me what was going on. I was very surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it was a wonderful thing. I said, wow, they're beginning to wake up. They're beginning to see. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at a phenomena. I'm looking at an idea whose time has finally arrived. And I see it arriving. And what brothers and sisters are doing right now. And I only can encourage you to continue, because we may see things like when the man who was blind and Jesus put, he spit on the ground, made some mud, and he put it on the eyes of the blind man, and Jesus said, "What do you see?" He says, "I see men as trees walking." That's what we're doing right now. We are seeing men as trees walking. Our vision is not occluded yet. Our vision still needs to be open. Our vision, we're seeing things, but we're not seeing it clearly. But the healing is being applied to our minds right now. And the day is going to come when our eyes are going to be fully open and we're going to see. But I think right now, as we are endeavoring on this great spiritual journey, that we are having the salve being put to our eyes, and we're just opening our eyes like a little baby, trying to recognize what we're seeing in the world. That's what we're doing right now. It's going to come in our eyes, and we're going to be fully open. We're going to see. Is someone talking?
It's noise from the background of
Okay. I'm going to rest right here because I don't want to take over this discussion. I'd rather just answer questions or hear comment.
Yeah. We'll open up the line, but if you can take 2 minutes or 1 minute to talk about.
I want to talk something before you open up the line.
Okay, let me say something in line to what you just finished saying.
Let me let you do something.
Okay.
He said something about spirituality, about healing, about forgiveness. He wasn't directing to anybody. This is going to be the entire black race.
Yes, I love that. That is what we want to say something to. Yeah.
Let me just emphasize. This is a prophetic message that has been given to many. This is what Prince Emma Edwemona just said. There's going to be a healing that is going to take over the entire black race. And do you know who is going to bring this healing to mankind? Biafra. The coming of Biafra is going to bring this healing.
Yeah.
Please, I'm sorry to say this. We can't just get rid of this anger. It doesn't come automatically.
I wanted to say that. I didn't want to lie.
Biafra is going to bring this healing. It's going to bring this forgiveness. And it's going to draw us closer to God. Our leader, Mike Nandikano, always says that there's no way the earth will end without Biafra coming. Because the point of Biafra signifies so many things. It signifies going back to where we are. Usually the circle, it starts at 360 degrees before it comes to the end where it started. It always ends where it started. That is what is going to happen to life. That is what is going to happen to mankind. And that is what Biafra is good. We have so much anger because there's so much that has been going on. Even in our position IPOB, there's so much anger because you see things. You're beginning to question, why would anybody act this way? Some of the things we do, we don't know because now it's spiritual. It has always been spiritual. It depends on the spirit. Is it the evil spirit, or is it the spirit of God? Now the spirit of God is in operation. We have our land, and our land is a woman, the spirit of Biafra, and the gods of our land. They are the ones in charge right now. That's where, even in our organization, we say that what we do is spiritual. I don't even think, in the beginning, I didn't understand it until I started to get a revelation of what spiritual means, spirituality. Biafra, we are spiritual human beings. We're spiritual beings. Because when God created us, when Elohim, and I'm glad to call him by what you said, I am. When the I am that I am created us, he created us as a spiritual being. And that's what Biafra is going to get into. We're going to become spiritual beings. And the entire black race and the entire world. What is going to happen in Africa is going to impact all mankind. Because life started with us. And we are going to generate, we're going to pass that energy out. That love is going to come. That forgiveness is going to come. and we're going to take it to the Americas. We're going to take it all over the world. There's going to be this healing, and Biafra will bring this healing. That's something I need to emphasize. I don't want to say yes, nobody is, it's not picking up anybody, but it's a prophetic message, and I know it because I've already received that message, and I've already shared that message with so many people. There's going to be calm. There's going to be forgiveness. There's going to be peace. We are going to live as spiritual people, spiritual beings. We are even, it's just so amazing. We don't understand who we are, and then I think with time, we will begin to actually realize who we are.
It's already starting. It's not in it's
awareness has come. So great.
It's already here.
I will give our
We're going to have other speakers from Holland and from other places. Believe me, what you just said, you're going to hear it so many times. That is going to help our Biafran people to understand.
Okay, I'm going to take calls, please. They are my name. And then anybody calling in, it's going to be like 2 minutes, 15 seconds. We're running out of time to give us.
I wanted to say something. Let me speak, please.
No, when we are running up, we will say something.
In the process of the video, Dr. Nelia Febo made mention of consulting, and also Mazi Eremona, Sydney Davis made mention of consulting the deviants in Biafraland, and also consulting the Queen of the Coast, which is Mame Water. That is a marine spirit. And all that is a means of taking the Biafrans to marine colonization. And that is satanic. It is not godly. It is a wrong way of seeking the solution. It is not the right way of seeking the solution. Because I've said earlier, if the solution is not found the right way, it will be gotten from the wrong way to enslave the people more and more rather than to liberate them. And the satanic gift is give and take. So while people depend on that marine spirit is the spirit of Ogbanje, and the source the people being controlled, being influenced by the Queen of the Coast, which is Mame Water, to place them under marine colonization, solving their temporal problem and giving them another permanent problem, which cannot be solved unless by God's intervention. So we should be careful. We know we have problems, but being ignorant and being ambiguous about the situation, as actually understand that the Nelly and the rest of them are, they will lead the Biafrans into into tougher spiritual problems, because what we experience is the physical manifestation of the spiritual foundation of we the Biafrans. So if we find wrong solution, the matter will get worse rather than we getting the necessary solution. And there is no better solution than the truth and the reality. The truth and the reality is God and the Word of God and God's own style of finding solution. So we are to seek the face of God through Jesus Christ. Through Jesus Christ, the only begotten and approved Son of God, sent by God for the salvation of humanity. Failing to do so should lead to error. Failing to do so will lead to error. That is what I want Biafrans to know in this regard. Then I want to read a place in the Bible, and that is the book of Hosea chapter 4. Reading it from verse 4. He said, "Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother." Verse 6 say, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no more priest to me, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God. I will also forget thy children." This is God dealing with his people, of which the Israelis are the classical example. Like with the Biafrans, say God rejecting his people because the sacrifices, the priesthood, when it should be godly, it becomes demonic, it becomes marine, under the control of the marine spirits by the queen of the coast. So, and we forget about the perfect law of God through Jesus Christ. So many people will not believe me as I speak, but that is true. You know the stand of Collins Inyima Treasury of Excellent Knowledge and Evangelist Inyima Carlo, which is my Christian channel. It is all about bringing the excellent truth to perfect comprehension. That is the reason it is centered. They are centers of excellent knowledge. So God rejecting even the priesthood, that marine priesthood, that occultic priesthood, that diabolic spirit, priesthood of all sorts. And the people, the Biafrans most especially, should be the priests of God, the real priests of God, the chosen generation, according to godliness, not according to diabolism or according to worldliness, but the way Nelly and Co want to lead the Biafrans to finding the spiritual solution is diabolic and marine. It is not godly. So it must be godly. That is what we must understand. Reading further, verse 7 say, Hosea chapter 4, now verse 7 say, "As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore will I change their glory into shame. The fallen of glory, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God." The Biafrans have sinned and come short of the glory of God. The glory of God, which is the excellent life, prosperity that comes from God, is running shortage in the lives of the Biafrans, just the way it was in the life of the Israelis as at then. Some people logically will ask, why is it that the Israelis of today, those who are regarded as the Israelis of today, why are they prosperous? The majority of them are not actually prosperous, but they are rich. They are financially rich because the majority of them do not even serve the real God. They serve different sorts of God, and they have their prosperity from those gods they serve. So it is possible that the Biafrans can be established on the foundation of marine spirits, and they will become rich, but under the control of the marine spirits. Yet we will remain in enmity with God. Eventually, that marine spirit will lead us into destruction. And that is the case of the majority of the Israelis, except the few among them who actually worship God in spirit and in truth. And God allowed them for a purpose, because we should not forget that even in the time past, God had been allowing the enemies of the Israelis to continuously invade the Israelis as a result of them forsaking God and God forsaking them, and they happened to encounter departure of God's glory in their lives. So our case is not different from that of Israel, because we are God's people who have believed in the real God but have deviated from the real God and begin to excuse ourselves and logically and arrogantly worshiping other God and looking for reasons to justify our idolatrous and philosophic worship. Verse 8 says, they eat up the sins of my people, and they set their heart on their iniquity. And there shall be like people like priests, and I will punish them for their ways and reward them their doings. For they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed to the Lord. That is God dealing with his own people like we, the Biafrans. So while we're talking about forgiveness, well, if we demand forgiveness with God, we should also be ready to repent and worship God in truth and in spirit. While we are talking about forgiveness among ourselves, if God is not involved, it cannot actually be achieved. And it is possible that we forgive each other before Biafra restoration. Forgiveness can happen overnight, but it has requirements. First of all, the evildoers must make up their mind that they do not want to continue in their evil, and most especially the evil they commit against their fellow Biafrans or against the Igbos, against their fellow Igbos in all ramification. It is a matter of change of my repentance, is changing of mind. When we talk about repentance, according to theology, it is changing of mind, changing of mindset, changing of decision from negativity to positivity and in godly ways. So everything about godliness is about positivity, thinking on how to do the right things every moment, and on how to deal with people with right motives and achieving the right result. Living selflessly with people and being beneficial to ourselves and to others. That is what is required of us. If Biafra will be restored in the next 1 month, there is possibility of we changing and forgiving each other before that 1 month. They say it is not possible, but it is possible. But it is because the hand of God is not involved. So the demons controlling the lives of the Biafrans are the demons instigating them with anger and unforgiveness. So there will always be quarrel, envy, and jealousy among us. Then that partition will continue to be sustained.
I'll come back to that. I really want to know. Yes. Before I leave here. So, this is time for our viewers to talk, please.
Okay. So, we're going to talk about nature. Maybe on your next visit, we're going to emphasize it.
Okay.
So it is their time of interactive section, and I will end this video here. Then I will use that interactive section for another part of this video. So then from there we hear people's views through their calls. We hear their own perspectives. Then wherever there will be errors, I will continue to correct them, to put them aright. Because what I do in my platform is psychological development, biblically and socially. This is what many people do not understand. Some people say, I don't do research. No, I may not even do research. What I come here is to invest my knowledge by bringing other people's erroneous and accurate knowledge, analyzing it with my own accurate knowledge, bringing them to perfect understanding, and for psychological development and for advanced learning, not only for now, but for a lifetime, for present and the subsequent generations of the Biafrans and of the world at large. May God bless you as I'm about to end the program.